and same-day delivery. Use Social Furniture's financing plan and pay no interest for 1 full year. Shop at Social Furniture today on Charlotte Avenue in West Nashville. Shop local. Shop social. Social Furniture is a proud supporter of your Nashville Predators.
Mike Capel here, serial entrepreneur with words from another happy payroll customer.
What you have done for me to make my life so much easier is you take that fear away from me that I'm doing something wrong with the payroll. Thank you so much for your software. I don't know what I would have done without it.
Visit us at patriotsoftware.com. Use promo code RADIO and get 2 months of payroll free. That's patriotsoftware.com.
With patriotsoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
Hey, what's going on? Chase McCabe here to tell you about Dr. Kelly Rice Family Cosmetic and Dental Sleep Medicine. Dr. Rice, is it true that according to the American Dental Association, roughly 80% of people in the U.S. have some form of gum disease?
That's right, but our non-surgical periodontal therapy is painless and effective in keeping your mouth healthy. And the mouth is the window to the health of the rest of the body.
I know you have some different things that you offer. What else can you tell us?
Well, first, who doesn't want whiter teeth? Our new Zoom LED whitening system is less sensitive, and you get more than 5 shades of whitening. And we just upgraded both our lasers to kill bacteria during your cleaning.
What about taking care of cold sores some people may have, which can become painful? Can lasers help with that too?
Yes, the gentle laser setting will kill the virus in your cold sores all naturally while reducing the healing time by half. And our special soft tissue wand uses warm, light laser therapy to give instant relief to severe TMJ pain. Our approach to holistic dentistry is unique.
Give Dr. Kelly Rice Family Cosmetic and Dental Sleep Medicine a call today at 615-373-4488 or visit kellyerice.com. You'll certainly be glad you did.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell media station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 1025 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the offices of Amanda Gentry. We are live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios, Bridgestone Arena. For the Predators tonight, the final home game of the year against the Calgary Flames. So I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to tell it like it is. You know me, I'll tell it like it is. And the Predators are going to need to get a little bit of confidence going into the playoffs, and this is probably their last crack at it. Because, again, if they win in regulation, win in regulation and they're in, and Dallas loses, if Vegas loses, and then they win in overtime, they're in. And if they get a point, and if Vegas loses in regulation, then they're in. And so win and they're in. But the truth is they're going to win Thursday against Arizona, who's the worst team in the league. They're going to beat Arizona. And if they don't beat Arizona, then everybody, comes right under the Jared the GM microscope. Friday becomes the anti-draft recap day. And, we may have to start on the Predators on Friday if they lose to Arizona on Thursday, if they lose this game today. But I don't expect them to do so. So it's a big game. I want to start on this, though. Now, we have decided that every decision has to be made before the draft. So on Thursday, we'll have to make every big decision around the Titans because that's what the GM said you have to do. But I want to analyze the GM who's going to be picking for the Titans. What was it that Bill Polian said? He didn't want to farm Johnny Robinson's land in reference to the A.J. Brown trade.
I like that.
We are going to farm Johnny Robinson's land, as we always do. That is what Sports Talk Radio is. The backbone of it is first and second guessing the coach and general manager. And so that's exactly what we're going to do. And I open it with this question for everybody. And it is, how much do you trust John Robinson? That's all I'm asking. And this will be the only time that we do it this week, because we'll make our decisions on Tuesday, and we'll decide how we feel about certain players tomorrow, and we'll make every big decision by the time that we start the show at 2 o'clock on Thursday, or at least by the time we start the draft show at 5 o'clock on Thursday. But I decided to do this. I took every pick John Robinson has made as general manager of the Titans, so 2016 to now. And I start with this question. Is 6 drafts enough to actually get a feel for if somebody can do it? And I say the answer is yes.
I think that's a big enough sample size.
Because if you can't do it, you get fired before you get to the 6th one.
Right.
Or I guess this is the 7th one. You get fired before you get to the 7th one. So I've analyzed every pick that John Robinson has made. And I've got them into 3 categories: good, bad, and question mark. Very creative categories here.
Yeah. Thank you for doing that for us.
So here's what I've got. 2016, Jack Conklin, good. Derrick Henry, good. Kevin Byard, good. Tajay Sharp, good. Austin Johnson, question mark. He had a nice run with the Titans. He was a solid player for 3 out of his 4 years. He went to the Giants for a couple years. Now he's with the Chargers. I mean, he's a solid rotational defensive tackle. Don't know how I feel about that in the 2nd round. Bad, Kevin Dodd. Now, let me say for the record, when going through the good and the bads, if you ended up being a player that didn't make it, but you were drafted after the 4th round, I don't count you as bad. A 5th round pick that doesn't make it, I mean, that happens all the time. A 6th round pick that doesn't make it, that happens all the time. But if you're picked below the 4th round and you are a quality contributor, i.e. Tajay Sharp, in the most recent case, Chris Jackson, a 7th round pick. And Chris Jackson's not a starter, but he plays a lot. So I counted Chris Jackson as a good pick. So that's how I came about it. So again, good, Conklin, Henry, Byard, Sharp. Question, Johnson. Bad, Kevin Dodd. Ian, any qualms with that grouping?
No, don't think so.
Okay, 2017. Adoree Jackson, I put as a question mark. So I had a really tough time with Adoree. I leaned good, but then I went question mark. Jonnu Smith, good. Jayon Brown, good. Corey Davis, bad. Now, I know people are going to say, well, Corey Davis, almost had 1,000 yards that last year, and Corey Davis wasn't a bum. Corey Davis was the 5th overall pick in the draft. Look who went after him. He's not on the team. They didn't want him on the team. He didn't do anything for the Jets last year. Corey Davis had 1 good season. Bad. Taywan Taylor, bad. So, again, they needed wide receivers in that draft. Davis, bad. Taywan Taylor, bad. Jonnu Smith, good. Jayon Brown, good. 2018, they only had 4 picks in that class. Crookshank, whatever. Again, below the 4th round or whatever. Crookshank just doesn't count. Landry, good. Evans, bad. I think that's pretty simple. 2019, Simmons, Brown, Davis, Hooker, Long, good. Nobody bad. 2020, Chris Jackson, 7th round, good. Christian Fulton, I have his question mark. I mean, he had 1 no season where he wasn't even active. And then he had, a season where he played a lot. But he gave up that big play in the playoffs, and we'll see. I have Wilson. What's his first name?
Isaiah.
Isaiah Wilson. Bad.
If you can't even remember the man's name, then he's in the bad category.
Darrington Evans. Bad. 2021. Elijah Molden. Good. Caleb Farley's an injury question mark. Monty Rice is a question mark. Dez Fitzpatrick's bad. You get cut, you're bad. I mean, if you do not make it out of your first training camp, and I know Dez is still on the team, and I know Dez was in Miami with Ryan Tannehill, and I know John Robinson said that Dez is coming along, and I know Dez went to the best college in America, Louisville, which prepared him not just for the good times, but prepared him for the bad times. But still bad pick. And then I put Dylan Radins as a bad pick. I'm sorry, Dylan Radins has to play his way out of the bad. Because if you are he was inactive for the playoff game, right?
I believe so. I just don't think that I'm willing to put Dylan Radins in the bad category.
Bad.
Why
or
not question
Fitzpatrick.
mark?
Fitzpatrick's a question mark as well.
Oh, no. Fitzpatrick, he got cut. Got cut.
4th round pick, first year. I'm willing to question mark it.
C-U-T. The rest of the league could have him. The rest of the league was like, nah, we good. He sucks. Come on. You got to, the Radins thing, like if you want to argue for Radins.
I would say that's a question mark for me.
If you want to stump for Radins like Joe does, for whatever reason Joe feels the need to stump for Radins, you can.
No.
But
nobody is waving their pom-poms for Dylan Radins. Joe is not either. Joe is saying
Luke Warsham.
Are they waving their pom-poms or are they saying,
let's see? If you think he should be the starting right tackle right now with the Tennessee Titans, you are crazy. And those people think he should be the starting right tackle. And so
Do they think that he should be, or do they think that he possibly could be?
No, they think he's entitled to be given the opportunity to play right tackle, which I don't believe in. But it's my list, and I got to get to the actual crux of the point here, which is I put that in 54% success rate for John Robinson. 54%. And again, we're not asking you to hit on 6th-round picks. Mm-hmm. And if you do, you get a good pick. But if you don't get a bad pick. So then I thought, like, is 54 good? Like, is a 54% success rate good?
Well, that's a failing grade, but I think it's all relative.
So here's what I did. I went out and I took the Cowboys because they're the only team that I probably watch a lot over the course of the year. And not because I choose to watch the Cowboys, but because they're just on national television every week. And so I feel like I know that team the best. Plus, Chase likes the Cowboys, and he was there when I was doing this. So Jerry Jones, his success rate, 2016, good. Ezekiel Elliott, Jalen Smith, Malik Collins, Dak Prescott, bad. Charles Tapper. 2017, good. Chidobe Awuzie, Xavier Woods, Jordan Lewis, bad. Taco Charlton, Ryan Switzer. Good. 2018, Connor Williams, Michael Gallup, Dalton Schultz, Cedric Wilson, bad. Leighton Vander Esch always gets hurt. 2019, Connor McGovern, good. Tony Pollard, good. Tristan Hill, whoever the hell that is, bad. 2020, CeeDee Lamb, Trayvon Diggs, and Tyler Biadasz, the center, who's their starting center, good. Micah Parsons, good. And then they already cut a 4th-round pick in last year's draft. So guess what I did when they cut a 4th-round pick already?
Bad.
Bad.
Well, Des Fitzpatrick would be in that same category, so as long as you're consistent.
Jerry Jones' success rate is 59%. So by the same token, and let me say again, these are my lists, and I do not watch the Cowboys every week, and I do not know their team like I know the Titans. John Robinson is shooting at a 54, and Jerry is shooting at a 59. Is that good, or is that bad? And that leads me to the question again of how much do you trust John Robinson going into this draft? Because, again, it wasn't like John Robinson was gifted the best team in football or, a 13-3 team and the general manager retired and so he took over. It wasn't like Matt LaFleur going to the Green Bay Packers where he inherited Aaron Rodgers. This team was a freaking mess when John Robinson took over. They were horrible. They were the worst team in the NFL. They lost a game, the last game before the John Robinson era. The Titans played the Indianapolis Colts, who had signed a quarterback on Wednesday of that week and beat the Titans with him on Sunday. So, I mean, that is terrible. And so for me, I look at this again at 54%, and I look at Jerry Jones at 59%, and I'm like, well, that doesn't seem to be really all that good. If it wasn't for the 2019 draft, Simmons, Brown, Davis, Hooker, Long, this list would be a lot worse. The success rate would be a lot worse. But the Titans had the number 1 seed last year in the AFC. It's not John Robinson's fault, unless you want to fault him for not taking Tom Brady, which you can fault him for if you want. But it's not John Robinson's fault they lost to the Bengals. Titans were good enough to beat the Bengals. Titans were better than the Bengals. Titans had a better team, in my opinion, outside of quarterback than the Bengals. So I guess I open this up, and I ask this question. How much trust do you have in Robinson? And not only how much trust do you have in Robinson, but how much trust, how much pressure is he under to deliver on the draft? Because the draft has really, there are a lot of big question marks right now with this team because of the draft, because of Corey Davis, because of Kevin Dodd, because of Taywan Taylor, because of Rashawn Evans, because of Isaiah Wilson, because of Darrington Evans, and, again, Dylan Radins, big question mark. So that's how we're starting today. Analyzing John Robinson. This is the question. 1, how comfortable are you with John Robinson and his draft success? And 2, do you think there's pressure on Robinson? He just got a contract extension. He's never had a losing season. Do you think there's pressure on Robinson in this draft other than just the simple pressure that comes with being a general manager of every draft? 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. And again, we're not trying to farm anybody's land here, But that's exactly what we're doing. 615-737-1025, Stillman and Company. We're off and rolling. It's draft week, live from Bridgestone Arena. It's ESPN 1025 The Game.
Every Wednesday at 5, join us for Jared versus Joe as they debate all of the big topics in sports, presented by Parman Tractor and Equipment and Mayweather Boxing and Fitness on ESPN 1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Victory Award-winning New Amsterdam Vodka knows all about it, but in life, it's not always so clear. So New Amsterdam Vodka believes that in life, you've got to find your own wins. You've got to overcome your fears, go all in, even when you've got nothing at all. Find your wins. And when you do, raise that glass of New Amsterdam Vodka in victory. You've earned it. New Amsterdam Spirits Company, Modesto, California.
Hey, it's Mike from Newton Nissan South. It's springtime, and I'm going on a limb here. I'm just going to say it. You either love Peeps, or you're wrong. I hope you've heard our commercials before. My hope is that you have learned that we are a quality company that prides itself on customer service, and that we like to laugh and joke a bit too. We're different than other dealerships. We don't have hidden fees. The price you see on the site is a price you pay in the dealership. We value you as a customer. We're aware that buying a car often has a stigma attached. Our goal is to overcome that bad stigma, not with flashy commercials or unrealistic giveaways, but with an honest, transparent car buying experience. We want you to come back, and we want you to tell your friends. We do that by giving you great customer service. We want to make your car buying experience fast, easy, and mostly online to save you time. That's why we have Newton FastPass. You can work your deal and numbers online and work the deal to fit your budget. Sounds easy, right? Hop to it and visit NewtonNissanSouth.com to start your deal. See website for details. Check the deets, peeps.
Do I need Medicare when I turn 65, or can I wait?
With more than 70 years of experience helping Tennesseans, Farm Bureau Health Plans can answer all your questions about Medicare.
Part A, B, C, D, it's all alphabet soup to me.
So if you're looking for an affordable way to cover the gaps left by Medicare or protection from the high cost of prescription drugs, you can plan on us to make it easy. Find out more at fbhp.com. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Plan on us.
What if you could be debt-free in 3 weeks? Hey, Willie Donick here. My friends at Loan Pronto are helping people do it every day. It's Loan Pronto's debt consolidation home refi, wiping out tens of thousands in credit card debt. Listen, your home's value is way up. You can refinance now, take money out to pay off all your credit cards, eliminate PMI charges, pay off personal loans, or other high-interest debt. One local couple had over $50,000 in credit card debt. Loan Pronto did a debt consolidation refi. And even though their mortgage rate went up a tad, they cut their monthly payments by $900. Why pay 20% interest when you can consolidate it to one low payment with a mortgage APR in the threes? Homeowners who do it save an average of $800 a month. Do it now and even skip your next house payment altogether. That's what I call financial freedom. Call Loan Pronto now. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
I mean, how much movement is there still to do? What's the last week like leading up to the draft?
Yeah, just going back through, we watched through a couple guys last night as a group. You start the comparisons. This player versus that player. It may be vertically in the position stack and maybe horizontally, one position versus another position. I mean, you're trying to predict guys that are going to go up ahead of where you're picking. Sometimes that's a bit of a crapshoot. So, but just some dialogue as we try to fine tune here heading into next week.
That was John Robinson last week when asked if there was any movement still going on or anything like that. The answer is no. Like I heard Bill Polian say on SiriusXM that the board is done on March 30th and that only 5 people see the board, including the owner. And, their owner is really hands-on in Indianapolis, Irsay. I do not think the Titans owner is very hands-on when it comes to making these kind of picks. But the board is done. I'm sure Robinson's seen it. I'm sure Monty Austin-Fort's seen it. I think Vrabel's probably seen it. But the board seems to be done. But we are analyzing John Robinson as they make, again, his 7th draft. And I don't think there's any way to say it other than John Robinson is a good general manager. Now, every general manager is going to have picks that don't work out or trades that don't work out. Robinson just has an alarmingly high number of picks that don't work out or acquisitions that don't work out for a guy who's never had a losing season. I was talking about this the other day when I looked at the Jets, the Giants. The Giants want to cut Kadarius Toney, who they took 21st last year.
Last year, yeah.
They want to cut Kadarius Toney. Well, or they want to trade him. Well, if you look back at the Giants, like over the last 5 years, Saquon, not good. Daniel Jones, not good.
Well, Saquon was good, was just hurt.
That counts. If you can't get on the field, you're not helping the team. And if you're not helping the team and Josh Allen was there and Josh Allen's helping his team, that's a bad pick.
But what would you say about Christian McCaffrey?
Bad.
I can't go there.
But again, if you can't, this is my thing about these NBA players too, which is, I've always said this about the NBA, that nobody in America gives a rat's ass about the NBA regular season unless you are a fan of a team. Like if you are a Chicago Bulls fan, you will watch the Chicago Bulls. But for most of us who don't really have an allegiance to an NBA team, now is when we flip on the TV, maybe honestly in a couple of weeks. And there's all these young players around the NBA, and they all want to be the next Kobe or the next Michael or the next whatever. Well, guess what, Devin Booker? I know it's not your fault that you hurt your hamstring, but if you don't win in the playoffs, you ain't going to be the next Kobe. You're going to be Tracy McGrady. That's it. And so if you're going to be a good pick, you got to play. What's the number one availability or the number one ability? I just gave it away. Availability is the number one. So that's a bad pick. Saquon is a bad pick. That is a bad pick.
I wouldn't say so.
So Saquon's a bad pick. Daniel Jones is a bad pick.
That I would
DeAndre Baker's a bad pick. Now, Dexter Lawrence and Andrew Thomas, the tackle, those guys I think are decent players.
Yeah.
And then Toney. So when you got all these first-round picks and you don't like them and they're not on your team anymore or they're not helping your team win or you're not winning any games, you as a general manager, you're going to get fired. That's what happened, obviously, with Dave Gettleman. The general manager there got fired. He didn't make any good picks. And so I go back to this, which is John Robinson has an alarming number of bad picks in the first round. And really an alarming number of bad picks overall. And yet they just keep winning. And so I asked the question if there's like any more pressure on John Robinson to go out there this year and, pick some good players. And I have a hard time coming at a yes because he just signed a contract extension and they keep winning. So that's how I feel on it. And again, I'm going to be honest with you. Injury, and I can't see them coming, those get you fired. Like, again, go back to Saquon. Those injuries that he keeps having, the knee and the ankle and that gets you fired.
Hamstring.
And if you don't get him a line or whatever it is, and that gets you fired. It's like everybody has an excuse for everything. It's like when you talk to coaches who get fired, they'll tell you when they're coaching, they'll say, if we make this decision and it fails, the media will kill us and we'll get fired. And then when they get fired, every coach is like, well, it wasn't fair to us. We had to play on Thursday night, and then we had to go, and it was, go on a road game to Lambeau in December, and our quarterback got hurt, and can't blame me. But the draft, to me, this is binary. Good pick, bad pick. And Robinson, TD just sent me an article that there are 2 of 7 first-round picks of the Titans that are still on the roster. Simmons and Farley. And Farley, who knows?
Is a question mark.
So Simmons and Farley are the only 2. On the Cowboys, over the same period of time, the Cowboys have 4 of 5 first-round picks that are still on the roster. Only Taco Charlton is not, and they traded away their first-round pick in 2019 for Amari Cooper. But other than that, Zeke is there. Van Der Esch is there. CeeDee Lamb is still there. Micah Parsons is still there. And when you go over the list of Ezekiel Elliott, Micah Parsons, and CeeDee Lamb over here, and then you go Jeffrey Simmons is the only one over here, that's kind of concerning. So I don't know. Like, it's a weird way of saying.
Do you look at the later rounds in the draft and give, any sort of accolades to that. I mean,
To
John Robinson has done a pretty good job in the second round.
Okay, so second round, yes. Derrick Henry, good. Kevin Dodd, bad. But Derrick Henry was good. A.J. Brown was good. Harold Landry has turned into good, which is good. You know, Landry this time last year was definitely a question mark. But then Radens, I've got as bad. Whereas the Cowboys in the second round are going Jalen Smith, Chidobe Awuzie, Connor Williams, who's a starting offensive lineman, Connor McGovern, starting offensive lineman, Trayvon Diggs, who's pretty freaking good.
Pretty damn good.
So, and I'm not like sitting here saying like Jerry is a better general manager than John Robinson. I'm picking Jerry because I know his team the best. What's crazy is the only other team that I could possibly do this with, where we could take their, and I should have done this, is the Patriots. And I think the Patriots drafting has been a freaking mess over the last 6 years since Robinson's been here. And I think a lot of it, when you look at the Patriots and you look at how they've struggled, I think a lot of it is because they've lost John Robinson, and Jason Light went to Tampa, and Bob Quinn went to Detroit, and Floyd Reese came here. And so all those guys, you know, that were there aren't there anymore. And then they end up picking N'Keal Harry in the first round when they could have had Debo or AJ or DK or any of those guys. And they pick freaking N'Keal Harry, who stinks. So, again, this is a long-winded way of, like, when we wouldn't sit here and say Belichick's not doing a good job, though the owner has done enough talking about
Belichick.
Belichick.
Game in 3 years.
Well, and he said the last 4 drafts are horrible,
Yeah.
except for the past year. He's like, last 4 drafts were horrible. So I asked this question: how much do you trust Robinson, and is there any extra pressure on Robinson?
I mean, trusting John Robinson is difficult because, I mean, when you don't hit on the first round 2 years in a row, I mean, that's not a good sign. Especially, I mean, the first round, you need to hit on the first round. Especially when when you've been talking about being in a Super Bowl window for so long and you can't draft guys that can come in and contribute right away. That's a bad sign. And I think if you strike out on 3 first rounds in a row, I mean,
is Farley a bad pick?
I think Farley is a question mark, but whenever you draft an injured player and the injured player gets even more injured, then like your entire intention of drafting that guy, getting a value pick, one of the best corners in the draft, picking him up at, 22? I mean, I understand the idea behind it, but whenever you draft an injured player and he just gets more injured, it's not a great sign. I'm not saying that, Caleb Farley is a bad pick because you can still get more out of him. But I think that, you could apply the same logic as Dylan Radens. You're not getting anything out of him in the first year. And when you draft a guy in the first and second round, you expect production in the first year.
The difference
and I understand
is, though, is
Caleb
like
Farley's
they put
injury
Farley on the field.
And
like
Radens is still.
in that Buffalo game where he tore his ACL, he was on the field. Like, it wasn't like they chose to not play Farley. They are choosing to not play Radens. Like, I got to be honest with you.
But also, if you're not on the field, you're not on the field.
My gut.
That's my same logic with Saquon, I guess.
But like Saquon gets you fired. And that's been 4 years. This is 1 year. If Farley gets hurt again, then it's a bad pick. But like Simmons, after his first year, you wouldn't have said Simmons was a good pick. Whereas, like, we can look at Micah Parsons and say Micah Parsons is a good pick.
Yes.
So that's where, again, like for Robinson, when you talk about win now and, draft guys now, and if they draft a quarterback that sits on the bench behind the bench, then you're going to say
it's not these guys now. But that's not then if they pick a quarterback, then they're going into this draft with a philosophy that they're not going to get something out of a first round pick.
You don't have to get results right away out of a first round pick for it to be a good pick. I mean, even Landry, it took until last year before he became like a really good player, which is concerning for another reason. But I stay back with this of, I don't think there is any added pressure on Robinson. I mean, I think there's pressure on every general manager in every draft, but I think John Robinson knows, like, I can get by with my process, whatever my process is, that has just absolutely screwed me up. And it has, how the hell do you draft Isaiah Wilson and have the guy go straight off the deep end, like right away? And you
still have a winning team.
That is horrible.
You still make the playoffs.
But it's horrible.
But that's the frustrating thing with John Robinson is I'll call it treading water, for example. He digs himself in a hole and then gets himself right out of it. And I think there is extra pressure because I don't want to tread water anymore.
But he just got a contract extension.
But that doesn't mean that he doesn't have pressure.
But again,
to hit on the first round.
Every general manager has pressure. I'm asking, is there more
additional pressure?
So like Trent Baalke, somebody told me that in Jacksonville, if Trent Baalke doesn't win 6 games this year, then they're going to fire him. That's extra pressure. That's different. So I don't think there's extra pressure on Robinson, other than the fact that Robinson knows that we all look at that and we're like, so what's that mean? So we'll get to your phones on it. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Again, 54% success rate on John Robinson, just by my, math. 54% success rate on the draft. And yet, winning seasons, 100%. What is 4 out of 6? What is that, 80%? Yeah. Again, this is why you don't do math on the air. But 4 out of 6 years they made the playoffs, and the other 2 years they were within a game of it. So, I mean, the guy wins. He wins. But I am with you, like Farley has to play this year. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025 here on the program. We'll get to your phones. Plus, there is one element of a decision that we've got to make, and I've already made it for us, and we'll get to that coming up. Caroline, tell us about the Caesars Sportsbook app.
It is time for the Caesars Sportsbook Report. Now, Caesars Sportsbook is giving out first bet insurance for all of their new users up to $1,100, which is a good bit of insurance. You can go into Caesars Sportsbook knowing that you've got a bit of insurance there for you financially. Just download the app and use promo code RADIOCZR. That's one word, RADIOCZR, then place your first bet. And if your first bet wins, then congratulations, you got a little bit of extra money in your account. But if not, then you'll get your wager back as a free bet. And if you need something to put that first free bet on, then look at the Predators game tonight. Calgary Flames coming into Nashville, taking on the Preds at Bridgestone. I'm going to take the Preds plus 1.5. I would love to take the Predators on the money line at plus 120 value. I just don't know how much I can trust the Predators the way they're playing as of late. But that's my take, and do it how you want to do it. Just do it with the Caesars Sportsbook app. Must be 21 and physically present in Tennessee. New users only. Bet amount of qualifying wager returned only if wager is settled as a loss. Paid as a single bet credit. Must be used within 14 days. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Caesars Sportsbook. Download it, people.
Every Wednesday at 6, we go behind the glass with current and former Predators players, along with coaches and broadcasters for Smashville Live.
Yost, Hal, and I were just talking about last night's game. It was a big game for us.
Presented by New Amsterdam Vodka, Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, and Red Spirits and Wine on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Chef John from Kitchen Notes at the Omni Nashville. Inviting you to come join us for breakfast and lunch. We are offering some exciting new menu items. For breakfast, we have a smoked prime rib hash. Comes with a sunny side up egg, hominy, caramelized onions. It's a great start to your day. We are featuring a sourdough pancake made with a sourdough bread starter. It's a fun spin on the classic buttermilk pancake. As always, Kitchen Notes is serving biscuits all day. Come join us and create a memorable experience here at the Omni Hotel. Food is all about memories for us. We'd like you to start a new memory here at Kitchen Notes in the Omni Hotel.
Breakfast at Kitchen Notes in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
It's the official Bud Light Preds watch party as your Nashville Predators take on the Colorado Avalanche this Thursday night. Puck drops at 8, but the party starts at 7:30 with all kinds of specials. See you at headquarters, Beercade, downtown Nashville on 2nd Avenue. Go Preds!
Harmon Energy is your one-stop petroleum solution across all of Tennessee, offering turnkey petroleum solutions for professionals in major industries, serving trucking fleets, construction companies, industrial plants, and more. Whether a large corporation or owner-operator, Harmon Energy has your diesel fuel, lubricant, DEF, and equipment needs. No matter how you're getting there, start with Parman. Visit ParmanEnergy.com for more info. Your Tennessee petroleum solution, providing totally outrageous customer service.
Hey Nashville, it's Chase McCabe, Program Director of ESPN 102.5 The Game, and there's a new way that you can hear Nashville's best sports talk. It's on 106.3 FM. From downtown Nashville to Spring Hill on I-65 and to Murfreesboro on I-24, you now have two choices to hear our great sports talk programming. And, of course, the Nashville Predators. Check out 106.3 now and save it as a preset.
Your ankles, feet, and knees help you walk, run, jump, and climb. Because of the stress placed on these joints, arthritis may occur, and lower limb injuries are common injuries treated by Houston Clinic Orthopedics. Their specially trained orthopedics can treat your pain non-surgically with non-inflammatory medications to reduce swelling and orthotics that support the pads, arch, or ankle joint. Your doctor may recommend a brace, custom shoes, or physical therapy as part of your treatment. Visit tn.houston.com to book an appointment for a physician to discuss your lifestyle, your goals, and determine the best treatment to fit your needs.
The Sounds.
Play ball! That ball's gonna drop! Base hit! Wilson around third! In to score!
The Nashville Sounds are back on the road to take on the St. Paul Saints.
Swing and a miss, strike three. Sounds win.
Coverage begins at 6:20 on your home for the Sounds.
ESPN
94.9 and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Rick Stockstill, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Here's the number one do. Make all the decisions before draft day. Now, technically, that's going to be impossible, but you want to go through and decide, have all of your mock drafts drawn up, have your top 150 all aligned the way you want. So if there's a dispute as to who's a better player between John Jones and Bill Smith, you can look up there on your board and see how you've rated them, and you stick with that. But anything about possible trades, about possible cuts, about anything along those lines, you want those decisions made prior to draft day so that when you go in there, all you're going to worry about are the new things that are going to pop up, and there will be a bunch of those.
There you go. The GM says make all the decisions before draft day. So I am ready to make the first draft decision of 2022. Dun, 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 dun. Dylan Radins is not the assumed starter at right tackle for the 2022 Tennessee Titans. And I'm going to tell you why I'm not making this decision, why I'm making this decision today. And I'm going to go back to a couple of things. One, Dylan Radins played in one game last year, like meaningful time at tackle in one game. It was the left tackle position in a game against San Francisco when they had no tackles. And from the people that actually grade the tape, and you know with offensive linemen what they're asked to do. But I think it was Blake Bedingfield, but I don't want to be committed to it being Blake Bedingfield. That was horrible. Like, apparently Radins was not good. And remember Vrabel's quote after the game? I was just glad to see Dylan walk up the tunnel and know that he helped us be a part of our win.
Which is really just a lot of Vrabel being like, Dylan, we got you.
And what
chest pump for Dylan Radins.
And what did Vrabel say at the Combine about Radins? Vrabel said that Dylan Radins is not ready to start today. Now, he did say that, it's my job and Keith Carter's job and it's our job to get him ready for the season, but he's not ready today. Well, guess what? The draft is in 2 days. So he ain't going to be ready in 2 days to be the right tackle. So if you're not sure that he's the right tackle, then he is not the assumed starter at right tackle, and that anything you do in this first round will have nothing to do with him. So if you've got Trevor Penning rated high and he's there when you're picking, you pick him because you don't have a right tackle as of today. As of Thursday, you don't have a right tackle. I am unilaterally making this decision that Dylan Radins is not the assumed starter at right tackle. And I will go one step further and say assumed starter at left guard. But if you want to enter camp and you draft a guy in the 4th round, and you got that 4th round guy, 5th round guy, whatever, plus Aaron Brewer, plus Radins for left guard, then I can live with that because you can always go sign Corey Levin, but I need 4 guys I can count on. Right now I've got 3. And count on and Lawan in the same sentence is kind of a, I count him relative to the others. Not sure how much I can count on him in general, but I can count on him relative to the others. That's the first decision I'm making. I'm not assuming that Dylan Radins is starting at right tackle for this team next year.
Well, that's kind of been my philosophy with Dylan Radins. And if Mike Vrabel and John Robinson emphatically state that Dylan Radins is going to be the right tackle for this football team, then I'll say, okay, great. Box checked.
But they've gone out of their way to not do that.
And I am not going to go into this draft or camp or whatever it might be hoping that Dylan Radins can rise to the occasion. I'd much rather have a very stacked right tackle room or have a bunch of different options to, kind of fill in and plug in different areas on the offensive line rather than just hoping Dylan Radins can play that role that today on March 26th, he can't.
So I'm actually operating under the assumption that he sucks. And if he doesn't suck, then it will be a pleasant surprise.
And that's my thing, is I'd rather be pleasantly surprised with Dylan Radins, competing for a starting spot with that right tackle position, which let's maybe say that they draft a potential right tackle. If they can compete for the job, then great, wonderful. You've got 2 solid options at right tackle rather than having maybe one option, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Let's go to your phones. 615-737-1025. We've got that decision out of the way about right tackle. Derek is going to start us off. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Go ahead, Derek.
Hey, Jared. Love the show. Thanks for taking the call. Yeah, I know Robinson got an extension, so is he going to get fired? I don't think so. But none of these guys who are GMs want to be the worst. They all know what everybody else does, and I honestly think his lack of drafting success or prowess, whatever you want to call it, is one of the key things missing. So if I look at another, trying to be elite AFC team, transparently, I'm a Bills fan. So if I look at Brandon Beane's last 5 first-round picks, you've got
I think he's the best general manager in the NFL.
A couple All-Pros, several Pro Bowlers, even into the 4th and 5th rounds. And that's the reason that they're able to be doing what they're doing, because they've got cheap talent that's achieving at a really high level. So reputationally, I think there's a ton of pressure on Robinson this draft. Even though he may not get fired, I think he's starting to be looked at as, hey, he's good, but why can't he draft players?
I think that's exactly it. Thank you for your call, Derek. And, I mean, look at the AFC, right? Like, who's the better general manager, Brandon Beane or John Robinson? It's not close. It's Brandon Beane. Who's the better general manager? Him or Brent Veach in Kansas City, who was the one that went to Andy Reid and was like, hey, I need you to watch this junior quarterback out of Texas Tech. Like, that is the difference. That in that draft, in the 2017 draft, they had the foresight that Patrick Mahomes was going to be an absolute star, and then they figured out how to get Patrick Mahomes on their team, and then they figured the perfect system and way to play for him. What did the Titans do? They drafted Corey Davis. Like, that's why that's a bad pick, because they didn't have the foresight to see, he's injured. He might stay injured, which he did. It's always been a thing with Corey Davis. And then all the guys behind Davis that were better, and this is the 5th pick, and this was a draft where a lot of teams got a lot of draft capital. Buffalo traded that pick to Kansas City, and a year later used their picks to go get Josh Allen. And so that's who you compete with. Now, I have no idea. Tobin in Cincinnati or John Robinson. I mean, I think Tobin's actually doing a pretty good job, because the free agent money that they've spent has been, in my opinion, very appropriate. Like Trey Hendrickson last year, who I think was a great fit for them, went to the Pro Bowl. They went and fixed the offensive line this year by getting not like sexy names, but getting guys that know how to play football. But then again, the reason the Bengals are good now is because they went out and got Joe Burrow because they were so bad. So that one is kind of tough for me to say, okay, well, Bill Tobin is a better general manager than John Robinson. I'm not there on that one. The other teams in the AFC, Robinson or Belichick? And I'll be honest with you, Robinson. And I don't even think it's close. Like, I do not think that it is close between Robinson and Belichick right now. It's like watching Blake Griffin play basketball yesterday. I mean, Blake Griffin's been on the bench for the Nets the whole time, and he comes out on the floor, and you're like, oh, yeah, Blake Griffin. Wasn't he good?
He used to be good.
And he sucks. And, like, that is what Belichick's drafting is right now. Belichick's drafting's terrible. Ziegler with the Raiders with no idea, he's never drafted before. Peyton in Denver, no idea, hasn't drafted enough. Who else is good? Telesco in the Chargers. Telesco is like a sneaky okay general manager. They just never win any games. It's the opposite of Robinson. Telesco is a good general manager when it comes to drafting, you think, because they draft good players. I mean, the tackle they took out of Northwestern last year looks like a legitimate franchise tackle. Herbert looks like a legitimate franchise quarterback. Mike Williams is a good wide receiver. They've always had Keenan Allen. They've always got good players on the Chargers, and they never win.
But I think that's a coaching issue rather than a drafting issue.
I mean, I don't know. Like I thought Anthony Lynn was an okay coach, but maybe he just can't hire any good coaches with the Chargers. Maybe it's an ownership thing. Spanos has always been known as kind of a cheap guy. But Telesco gets good players, but then they never win. It's the opposite of Robinson. Robinson, they miss on all the first-round picks, and they win a bunch of games. So it's tough. But, again, you do have to compare it to the top of the AFC, and then you have to think about the quarterback decision. But that's not really a draft thing right now because that was they traded for Tannehill. They put in Tannehill knowing they were going to have to go get another quarterback, and then Tannehill won them too many games, and now they have Tannehill. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll get back to your phones on this next. 615-737-1025 as we get ready for the draft on Thursday night. 615-737-1025. And the deal of the week from our friends here at 1025 The Game is Penne Pazze. That's right, in the L&L Market in West Nashville. Penne Pazze is Nashville's best and most authentic Italian restaurant serving fresh from farm two-table dishes. Head to thegamenashville.com/deals to get half off a $30 gift card to Penne Pazze while supplies last.
Join ESPN 1025 The Game for the Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament. Benefiting Folds of Honor on May 16th at Hermitage Golf Course. Put your team together and come play with the athletes, musicians, and other local celebrities. The Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament. Sign up at thegamenashville.com/golf.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Lots of sunshine this afternoon thanks to that drier air blowing in from the north and west, but it's also colder air, which is why highs will only reach the low to middle 60s.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Nothing makes one feel better than the ability to give to someone in need. You have the power to give the most important gift of all, the gift of life, with a donation of your blood. Supplies are desperately low in our area, and your help is needed. Blood Assurance is a nonprofit community blood center that supplies our Middle Tennessee area hospitals. Please find it in your heart to donate. Be someone's hero today. Go to bloodassurance.org to find a location or blood drive near you. That's bloodassurance.org. Give blood, give local, save lives with Blood Assurance.
Hey, Robby Stanley here to let you know you can go yard all summer long with $5 Dinger Tuesdays on FanDuel Sportsbook. This season, all customers will get $5 for every home run hit by both teams when you place a $25 to hit a home run wager on Tuesday MLB games. And the best part about Dinger Tuesdays is even if your bet loses, FanDuel will pay you $5 for every single home run hit in the game. I really like Ozzie Albies of the Braves. I like Anthony Rizzo of the Yankees as well. But you take it any way you want to take it. What are you waiting on? Just pick your home run hitter and turn big swings into big wins. There's no better place to bet America's pastime than on America's #1 sportsbook. Head over to your FanDuel account or download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up using promo code ROB. Once again, that promo code is ROB. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. A max bonus of $25. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
With PatriotSoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
Mike Capel here, serial entrepreneur. While starting my first of 5 successful businesses, I foolishly did my own accounting. I stuck the more difficult tax forms in a drawer for later, which caused the tax man to cometh. That little mistake took an entire team of accountants weeks to prevent the tax man from clubbing me. Moral of this story? Use Patriot's accounting software because it's easy, and tell your accountant to use the same accounting software you use. Then, if the tax man cometh, you'll be the one holding the club. Go to patriotsoftware.com. Use promo code RADIO and get 2 months of accounting software free. That's patriotsoftware.com.
PatriotSoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
Inside knowledge on the Titans.
Todd Downey's got his notepad out right now, just writing things out.
Inside knowledge on the Predators.
They can go right into the forecheck, and boom, you get a beautiful goal from Colton Sissons.
And then there's a team in Knoxville.
How excited should Tennessee fans be by what they've seen from Josh Heupel in year one?
Wake up and hang out with Robby and Rexrode. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Watch live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
This is Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
In terms of Dylan Radins, do you guys think he's more of a left guard or a right tackle? And how does that affect where he might fill the other spot in the draft?
I think with the offensive line, we're trying to get the best 5 guys up there that can block their guy. I think Dylan has shown he can play tackle. I think he's worked at guard. He's played guard. I think there's some versatility with him as a football player. But at the end of the day, with the offensive line, it's trying to get the right 5 guys up there that can block their guy on a consistent basis.
When the Titans had a general manager who had great offensive lines. Now, part of this was because Mike Munchak was the coach, or the offensive line coach. I remember the days when we would talk about moving Jack Conklin to left tackle, and I got the sternest, meanest look, and I got, Jack is a right tackle. He's a right tackle. Now let's just get the best 5 guys in there and screw it, let's play ball. The fact that the Titans aren't going to tell you that Dylan Radins is a tackle tells you that right now they're looking to upgrade, which is the answer, and it is unfortunate, and it is the decision that we have made.
Which is fine. At least you know that going into the draft rather than after the draft when you realize that Dylan Radins isn't the answer and you have no other option.
If they get out there and they are stuck with him and Jamarco Jones at right tackle, and those guys stink like what happened last year, then they ought to fire the offensive line coach.
Then you lose.
Because you can't do this without a right tackle. I know they got by last year, and they obviously didn't think anything of Quessenberry because they had no interest in bringing him back, which is wild since he started all those games. At least for $2 million, the consistency of a guy who has started a bunch of games over the last couple of years, and you're still like, nah, we're good.
When you still don't really have a certified answer.
Think about this. Not only did nobody here believe in Quessenberry, but like the Bengals. They can use as many offensive linemen as they can get. This guy started like 50, started 25 games over the last 2 years, and the Bengals are like, nah, we're good. What do we have in our text line? 615-737-1025.
Andrew texts in and says, I just want someone in the first round that can play week 1. A kicker, a tight end, strong safety. I don't care. I just want to see a first-round pick actually on the field.
So I understand the sentiment. I don't disagree with it, but at the same time, I also will tell you that it's kind of stupid, and I will tell you why for 2 reasons. Number 1, Aaron Rodgers did not play week 1 of his NFL career. Number 2, Tom Brady did not play the week 1 of his career. Patrick Mahomes did not play week 1 of his career. Jeffrey Simmons did not play week 1 of his career. So I get it. I get it. I want this guy to play right away. Keith Bullock did not start week 1 his rookie year. Best case scenario is you draft the next Javon Curse, although it feels like the Titans are okay at pass rush, but if there's a Javon Curse out there, you draft the Javon Curse. But you get a guy like Javon comes in right away and immediately makes your team better and takes you to the Super Bowl. That would be great. But that's also not overly realistic with the 26th pick in the draft. So, I understand the sentiment of like, oh, gosh, the Titans took a guy, and the Titans this guy, and is he any good? And I don't know if he's any good, and maybe he stinks, and, he's not out there on the field. And then, of course, I'll be doing a lot of complaining about it. But at the same time, in the NFL, unless you're getting Eddie George or you're getting Javon Curse, Steve McNair did not play week 1 as a rookie right away that first year. So I would just say calm yourself down on only having 1 requirement of the first-round pick, and that being that I just want a guy who can play right away.
But also, Aaron Rodgers was drafted to be a backup. I don't think the expectation of Aaron Rodgers when he was drafted was to be the starter week 1.
It wasn't the starter that week to be it wasn't the expectation.
Of course, they drafted him to be the heir to the throne, but I think it's the
that wasn't the goal with Farley.
No, wasn't the goal for Farley to play.
Not week
maybe
1,
not week 1, but year 1.
But again, they had starting corners last year. They had Jack Rabbit, and they
by the way,
Pro Football Focus. Boy, they think Jack Rabbit's freaking great. So apparently, I went and looked it up yesterday because, we had that very spirited Twitter discussion about the value of corners, which, by the way, you're not moving me off. Like, nobody's moving me off of. And I stand by it. I think the value of corners in today's NFL is just not the same that it used to be. And I think that, in the NFL, a good example of that is the fact that name the corners for Kansas City over the last handful of years.
I don't know.
Okay. So I just don't think that a valuable corner matters that much anymore because the rules don't allow the corners to really do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't sack the quarterback or force the quarterback to make a bad decision, then it doesn't matter. But I was looking at like the highest ranked P corners, and Jackrabbit was like kind of towards the top. Again, they had Jackrabbit, they had Fulton, they had Jackson. Like they did not say, okay, Caleb Farley has to be right on the field right away. I think a lot of people, myself included, are frustrated with the fact that an injured guy went out there and got injured. But I have no expectation of who they pick at 26 immediately starting for the Titans. And I think when you do that, when you look and say, okay, I don't have a right tackle, I don't have a left guard, I need to draft the right tackle, that 90% of the time since John Robinson's been the general manager, that's happened, and it has been a humongous mistake, including last year and the year before that, both at tackle, when he was drafting for need and he got burned by it. Whereas when he was sitting there at 51 in 2019 and he needed a right guard and they didn't have a right guard and it was, oh my God, who are they going to draft to play right guard? And it was still like, we got to take A.J. Brown. Like that has been the success for Robinson, is when he stays true to his board, not when he goes drafting for need. So I understand, but I'm just telling you that it's not very practical. What's next?
Brian texts in and says, honestly, the only thing I'm worried about with John Robinson is him drafting offensive linemen in the first 2 rounds. Other than that, I'm fine, but you're not going to hit on every draft pick.
So why though? Why is he worried about Robinson taking an offensive lineman in the first 2 rounds?
Is it drafting of the past?
Well,
is it an Isaiah Wilson burn?
If
Isaiah Wilson wasn't necessarily a talent evaluation, it was more so character.
Well, that is a very big part of the evaluation process. I mean, that is, if you can't get on the character stuff, then you're going to get fired. But, I mean, I understand the sentiment. This is like those teams that draft quarterbacks every 3 years that are like, oh, God, I don't want to draft another quarterback because the last time we drafted a quarterback, it was Mariota. And it's like, yes, but the thing is Buffalo spent all those years drafting J.P. Lossman and drafting Trent Edwards and drafting, I'm trying to think of who else the Bills ran out there at quarterback. I mean, it was just a disaster. And then they drafted Josh Allen, and everybody was happy. And that's how a lot of this works. What's next?
Gator Tim texts in and says, you can't be worse than Jerry Jones at drafting and be considered a good general manager.
See, here's the thing, though. Like, Jerry wins. There's a couple things in this. One, Jerry wins more than I would say the bad franchises, on par with the decent franchises, and not as much as the good franchises. He just doesn't win in the playoffs. And I would say that Jerry, to me, Jerry's biggest problems are when he overpays guys or trades a first-round pick for Amari Cooper.
Gets married to certain guys.
That's when I struggle with Jerry. Like when he becomes obsessed. Like when he's like, I want him, and he goes out and he makes sure that they trade for Amari Cooper, and Amari Cooper's never that good, but then they traded for him, and so then they paid him $20 million a year for however long, as my pen goes flying. They pay him $20 million a year, and so that's my bigger issue. He's much better. Talk about Robinson, much better, and I haven't crunched the numbers, than drafting Isaiah Wynn, Sony Michel, and N'Keal Harry, Bill Belichick. So, you can play the other side of that, but I mean, Robinson does have to draft better. 615-737-1025. Boy, the internet people are still mad about that Tannehill thing. Charles Robinson had a take about Ryan Tannehill today, the senior insider for Yahoo Sports, NFL Insider, with a Tannehill doozy. We'll get to that next. Stillman & Company. Right here, it's ESPN 1025. The Game. Let me tell all the fine folks out there, Seltzerland is turning Nashville into a hard seltzer paradise on Saturday, April 30th at the Riverside Golf Links. Enjoy this one-of-a-kind immersive experience as you spend the day tasting over 100 unique hard seltzers. Indulge in mouth-watering munchies, tons of seltzer swag, and bust out the gram for the most Insta-worthy moments. Seltzerland has rounded up the best hard seltzer brands in the land for one epic day dedicated to the bubbly brew everyone can't get enough of. Go to thegamenashville.com/contest to enter for your chance to win tickets to Seltzerland.
The voice of reason.
Now, you may say, well, a quarterback is more important than a running back. That's fine. You can say whatever you want.
The voice of the fan.
Even if we have to develop him while he's playing, I just want a boring first-round pick.
The voice of Nashville sports is your home of Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Calling a criminal defense lawyer or a divorce lawyer, you may think it's the worst day of your life. It doesn't have to be. If you have quality, competent representation who can guide you through a complex system, we can do that for you. Despite if you've been arrested for a DUI or a robbery charge, whether or not you're going through a divorce or a post-divorce, or demanding your fundamental constitutional right to parent your children. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
Winning this award is truly like winning the Super Bowl of car dealer awards for Mercedes-Benz.
Edwin Vickery, General Manager of Mercedes-Benz of Music City.
Culture eats strategy for lunch. You have to hit on all cylinders to win this award. You can strategize all you want. You got to still have the right tools, and our tools are our people.
Live the dream with 3-time Mercedes-Benz Best of the Best Award winner, Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Go to mbofmc.com.
Hey everybody, it's me, Chase McCabe, and I'm so excited to be talking about my go-to drink when I'm out and about, Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Screwball is the first and most awarded peanut butter whiskey in the world. It's an original, just like me, the suit. I take Screwball as a shot, but it's great on the rocks, in an old-fashioned, an espresso martini, and many more. So next time you're out and about, ask for Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2022, Screwball Spirits, LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
Hey, it's Jared from my friends at Hiller. Hiller is giving away free vacations for you and your family this month. With every purchase of a new whole home generator or select new HVAC systems, Hiller is giving you a free week-long vacation. With every purchase of a new tankless water heater, they're going to give you a free weekend vacation. And they're giving you a Visa Rewards card to help pay for gas to get you there. Choose from over 400 Marriott, Wyndham, Hilton, or Hyatt hotel properties. Take advantage of this unbelievable deal while you can. These deals are only available for a limited time, so schedule today. Visit happyhiller.com for all of the details.
Introducing the first Nashville location of Mayweather Boxing and Fitness in Midtown. Perfect for all fitness levels. Join a community that will help every person unleash their inner champ with fun, effective, and empowering group boxing circuit workouts. Become a founding member today. Stop by the brand new studio in Midtown at 2041 Broadway, Suite C, or call 629-206-9092 to join the family exclusive. Pre-opening rates now available. Mayweather Boxing and Fitness, the gold standard in boxing fitness.
Finishing jobs on time, never being idle, and powerful equipment. Meade has the John Deere excavating equipment and the smart grade technology solutions for you and your business. Power your business with a new, used, or rented excavator and get the performance you expect and service you can rely on. Call us today for the equipment built as tough and reliable as you, or visit us at meadtractor.com. That's meadtractor.com.
Smokeville Smoke Shop has been serving Hendersonville and Metro Nashville since 2015 and is committed to providing high-quality, hands-on, and personable customer service. Stop into Smokeville Smoke Shops in Hendersonville, Gallatin, Hermitage, and Goodlettsville to try any of their wide selection of locally sourced products and selection of top nationwide brands, including vapes, hookah, hand-blown glass, detox systems, e-juices, kratom products, leaf wraps, and much more. Visit Smokeville Smoke Shops today.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting 97.5 Murfreesboro, 106.3 Williamson County,
ESPN
102.5 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the offices of Amanda Gentry. We are live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios at Bridgestone Arena. Preds and Calgary Flames tonight. It's a biggin'. And by the way, I apologize. I thought it was Arizona, Colorado. Apparently it's Colorado Thursday, Arizona on Friday.
Mm-hmm. They end the season on Arizona.
Yeah, well, they better win that Arizona game. But they can clinch a playoff spot tonight by beating the Calgary Flames in regulation. So, T's and P's. Now, I do want to get to this. So, I think that there's something that people in Nashville have to understand about the NFL. You ever been somewhere when somebody like maybe has more experience or you haven't done something before and the person's like, no. At this country club, this is how we do this.
Mm-hmm.
You ever been somewhere where you're like, I don't know how I'm supposed to act.
Like,
when
I'll
I'm
just
here.
follow your
Like,
lead because I don't really know what to do.
It's like, just kind of just watch. So we haven't had a lot of quarterback controversy in Nashville, at least quarterback controversy of the team versus the quarterback variety.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, in my lifetime, there was two instances of legitimate controversy between the team and the quarterback. And I don't count the Vince Young stuff because Vince Young threw his pads into the stands and Jeff Fisher hated Vince Young. But essentially both Jeff Fisher and Vince Young got fired over that. So, that was different. But there have been two instances of this. Steve McNair got locked out of the facility in 2006 because they had to rework his contract to lower the cap number. If he got hurt working out, the Titans would have been responsible for all that money. Bud Adams panicked. They kicked Steve McNair out of the facility. And at that point, the relationship between McNair and the Titans was over. At that point, he had to go. Like, he was not coming back. He felt so disrespected. And as I was told, you don't disrespect Steve McNair. So at that point, it had changed. The second little mini controversy the Titans have had with the quarterback was, and I don't know what happened with all of this, but after Steve McNair left, Vince Young was not going to start right away. Billy Volek, who had been the backup for a couple of years, Billy Volek had played a lot of games the year before. He was going to be the starter. And all of a sudden, in the middle of training camp, Billy Volek wanted a contract extension or something. And Drew Rosenhaus showed up. And next thing you know, the Titans added Kerry Collins. And Billy Volek was out the door and sent to the Chargers for like a 6th-round pick to be a career backup. That's it. Other than that, you've heard no complaining out of Steve McNair, no complaining out of Neil O'Donnell, no complaining out of Kerry Collins, no complaining out of Vince Young, though that was kind of weird and, back and forth, and the mom calling Jeff Fisher and everything else. No complaining out of Matt Hasselbeck. No complaining out of Jake Locker. No complaining out of Ryan Fitzpatrick. No complaining that anybody listened to out of Zach Mettenberger. No complaining out of Mariota. And up until now, no complaining out of Tannehill. So we're not used to controversy. We're not used to guys holding out, wanting new contracts. We're just not used to it.
Deleting Instagram pictures.
We're just not used to it. So Ryan Tannehill doesn't show up last week for voluntary workouts. And I don't know where the It's Voluntary crew decided to come from, but they were loud. It's voluntary. By the way, the former players on this station, Trevor Maddich, Derek Mason, Chris Sanders, all not happy with Tannehill's decision. Charles Robinson, Yahoo Sports Insider, is on Robby and Rexrode every week. And this is what he said. It's one of two things why Tannehill didn't show up and why Tannehill posted that picture on Friday. It's one of two reasons. Here's what Charles Robinson said.
Tannehill not showing up. I'll be completely honest with you. I think I told you this last week. I was surprised. Like I don't understand what exactly the math is there, unless, and I guess I just never thought it would come to this kind of a situation. We're seeing where the quarterback money's going, right? And if he is going to be, the long-term piece there in Tennessee, he is underpaid. His deal is very, very underpaid for what he brings to the table. I know people probably don't want to hear that, but the fact of the matter is, like, mid-level quarterbacks now, and I'm talking like your 15th, 16th, 17th guys in the league, those contracts are heading to $30 million a year. That's where this is going. And the top-level quarterbacks are going to 50. That's the Joe Burrow. That's the, Justin Herbert, if all things come in the way that they're supposed to come in. Eventually Lamar Jackson, if he can, put together a healthy season in 2022, we're talking about upper 40s to low 50s for the next wave of quarterback contracts. And that means Ryan Tannehill, if you're keeping him, he is a quarterback that you're going to have to pony up for and figure out how to move forward with that. So that's all I can tell you. It makes no sense to me. Anybody who doesn't show up, particularly a quarterback that would be expected to show up for, the volunteer stuff and build chemistry. When that doesn't happen, I rarely see it. It's either a massive personality conflict, usually with a head coach and a quarterback, or it's money. One of the two.
Okay. Let's operate under that. Is it the head coach or maybe coordinator? Mm-hmm. We don't know. Is it Tannehill's unhappy or is it Tannehill wants to get paid? Because we did this for 4 hours the other day talking about Tannehill and his Instagram picture. And look, I don't think Tannehill's dumb enough to think that Instagram picture wasn't a giant FU to the team. Like, I think he knows that.
I mean, you have to have your head really up somewhere not to realize that is in such bad taste.
But we never talked about the idea of Tannehill wanting a new contract. We never considered it. I mean, I don't know what Tannehill's – I mean, I guess I would need to pull this up. I mean, I know what Tannehill is scheduled to make this year. Tannehill's scheduled to make somewhere around like $31 million in cash this year. I mean, I know everybody knows the cap number is $38 million, but Tannehill, like the actual cash,
31
guaranteed. I think it's supposed to be like $31 million or roster bonuses or I don't know. He's supposed to make somewhere around that. What if Tannehill thinks, yeah, I'm taking us to back-to-back divisions? I mean, I made the Pro Bowl in 2019. I was comeback player of the year. In 2018, I was one of the 5 or 6 best quarterbacks in the league. And last year, Derrick Henry got hurt. A.J. Brown got hurt. I was the one constant. Bud Dupree was hurt. I'm a quarterback. Kyler Murray wants $50 million. I'm not asking for 50, but I'd like an extension on my contract. I'd like to be the quarterback for the next 4 years, and I'd like a contract extension that makes me the quarterback here. Now, again, common sense would say that would be truly the stupidest thing for any of us to ever find out. Because if it came out today that Ryan Tannehill wants a new contract, I would be screaming. I would be on the phone with Cleveland about Baker Mayfield if I found out Ryan Tannehill wanted. I would call Cleveland myself. Like, I would call somebody who knows the Haslams, and I would get Jimmy Haslam on the phone, and I would be like, look, Jimmy, I don't work for the Titans. The Titans don't even all the time like me very much. But what has to happen to get Baker Mayfield to come to the Titans? Because Ryan Tannehill walked in John Robinson's office and asked for a new contract. That would happen. But in all seriousness, could Tannehill want a new contract?
I mean, why wasn't AJ there? He
That's
wants
true.
a new contract.
That's true.
He wants to get paid. And we even said, the AJ thing, AJ aside, because we understand that. We understand that AJ wants to get paid.
But Tannehill's supposed to make $30 million this year. He's already made a bunch of money in his life. He sucks.
Well, I'm not going to tell him that he can't want more. Because Charles Robinson said, the middle tier.
I will tell him, you are not allowed, after that Bengals performance and the Ravens performance and the season that you had, you are not allowed to ask for more money. There, I told him.
Well, there's two schools of thought here. Tannehill can want more money. Tannehill can want the security. Tannehill can want an extension. Is that justified? No.
I get rid of him if I was Robinson and he called me and he wanted, because you know that after June 1st, they can honestly get rid of him.
Yeah.
I'd be thinking about it if he wanted a new contract. Because if you want a new contract, like, it's bad enough to me that you were tone deaf enough not to take the blame for the loss at Cincinnati. Now, we'll all have your back, but you got to be the one that takes the blame. Like, that's bad enough.
Yes.
Then it's bad enough that you haven't said a peep about it since.
Well,
then
entire offseason.
Then it's bad that you don't show up for voluntary workouts because, again, I got to tell this to the Twitter.com fanboy community that this is not natural. The starting quarterback to not show up for team workouts is not natural. To Charles Robinson's point, it is either the quarterback wants more money or he hates the coach. When did Brady stop showing up to voluntary workouts to spend time with his family? When he hated Belichick. So that's what this is. And I don't know if it's Vrabel or I don't know if it's the contract thing. I mean, look.
The contract thing to me feels like it makes the most sense.
What would his problem with Vrabel possibly be?
I don't know. I mean, whenever Vrabel got Coach of the Year honors, he posted an Instagram, with a picture of him and Vrabel saying, "Congrats, Coach," and you can really interpret that as however you want. But, I mean, I don't know what the problem with Vrabel would be. I mean, Vrabel didn't seem very happy with Tannehill whenever he wasn't there. Is that because they've been clashing throughout the offseason? Is that because Vrabel was really tough on Tannehill whenever he wasn't performing at the level that he should have performed at this past season? And Tannehill didn't like that? Tannehill felt like he was being disrespected? Maybe so. I mean, being angry with Vrabel could go hand in hand with the production last season. Maybe Vrabel's just angry with Tannehill.
Maybe Vrabel's been up
with
his rear end. That I could see.
Which, I mean, rightfully so.
Hold that thought. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Here's the question. Do we think Tannehill actually wants a new contract? Is that what this is about? Or is it the Vrabel thing? And there is a number that I find to be just absolutely mind-boggling about Tannehill and the Titans that just drives me insane. We'll get to that next. 615-737-1025 is your phone number, 615-737-1025. If he wants a new contract, my goodness gracious. Join 1025 The Game this Thursday and Friday night for the Preds Bud Light Watch Party at Headquarters Beercade. Come enjoy great drink specials and watch Predators take on the Colorado Avalanche Thursday and the Arizona Coyotes on Friday. It's the Preds Bud Light Watch Party, Headquarters Beercade, 114 2nd Avenue South downtown. The puck drops at 8 o'clock Thursday and at 9:30 on Friday night.
Tune in every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. for Nashville's own Jason Fitz with Jarrett Stillman and Company. Fitz started his sports talk career right here on 102.5 The Game, and now he anchors shows for ESPN. Jason Fitz is brought to you by Blood Assurance. Give blood, give local, give life.
Looking to save money? With DriveWise from Allstate, the safer you drive, the more you can save. At Allstate, better protection costs a whole lot less. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
Mike Capel here, serial entrepreneur with words from another happy payroll customer.
Patriot Software has saved our business by allowing me to focus on other aspects of the business rather than spending so much time on multiple platforms to do the things entailed on running a business. I found Patriot by complete accident, and I don't regret it. It is continuing to save our company, and I'm extremely excited to see what else it entails.
Easy to learn, easy to use, small business software tailored just for you.
Visit us at patriotsoftware.com. Use promo code RADIO and get 2 months of payroll free. That's patriotsoftware.com.
With patriotsoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
Trying to find a new home right now is next to impossible. Very little inventory, prices are crazy high, rates are moving up. Here's a better idea. Let my friends at Loan Pronto refinance your current home, turn all that equity you have into cash, and totally transform your house. A new kitchen, new bathroom, a pool. Think about it. Your home value is up. Instead of wasting all that on an overpriced new house, convert that equity into cash for a home makeover. One local couple did it and got $200,000 out. They added new hardwoods, an outdoor living space, a swimming pool with spa and all new cabinets and appliances, plus a home office. Now they have their dream home, and they never had to move. Call Loan Pronto. Ask about their home improvement refi. Give your home a total makeover, and do it now. You can even skip your next house payment in the process. Call now, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval.
Hey, is this line secure?
Franco's cybersecurity firm secured a contract, and that's all we're allowed to say.
We have a green light on hiring.
He needs web security professionals with a military background.
3 teams of 4, 24-hour rotations, but Protocol Zulu is on a need-to-know basis.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from the Indeed dashboard, so you can stay organized and connected all the way to the hire. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Don't forget to grab your mom something special this year. Shop at Social Furniture for their Mother's Day sale, where everything is in stock. They have sofas, bedroom sets, and top-name brand new mattresses like Purple, Serta, Sealy, and Simmons on sale now. Running out of time? Well, at Social Furniture, there's no waiting and same-day delivery. Use Social Furniture's financing plan and pay no interest for 1 full year. Shop at Social Furniture today on Charlotte Avenue in West Nashville. Shop local. Shop social. Social Furniture is a proud supporter of your Nashville Predators.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
First off, it didn't surprise me after not taking any accountability for the loss after the game and not showing up the next day during locker cleanout. It did not surprise me that he did not show up this week. And for those people who say it's voluntary, you are correct. But I think it says even more about him that it's voluntary and he's not there. It says it didn't hurt enough. Because if it hurt bad enough, he would have been the first one at the door. And it should have hurt him more than it hurt anybody. But apparently it didn't. I'm not saying he didn't care. But if it hurt as much as it hurt some of the fans that I talked to, he would have been there 5 minutes before the door opened, or 30 minutes. Because I talked to some fans who a month after that loss were still hurting. We're still having a hard time getting over it. Apparently, didn't hurt that bad.
There you go. That was a heater from Corey Curtis on Friday, on Fireball Hot Take Friday. He was furious.
Yeah, he came in hot on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. And I really wasn't expecting that. I was expecting Corey to be like, Jared, it's voluntary workouts. It's only April. We've got a long off season ahead of us. I'm not putting too much into it.
You know what he told me today?
What?
He told me that when he heard Trevor go bananas on Tannehill, that he knew that he was thinking right. And that is, and Trevor lost his mind on on Tuesday, talking about Tannehill last week. And
Trevor's always glass half full.
I go back to the Charles Robinson thing, and that's the money. Like, I wonder if this is about Tannehill thinking he wants a new contract. And there's a part of me that thinks to myself, if Ryan Tannehill were if it were to be publicly known that Ryan Tannehill wanted a new contract, and again, we don't know that he wants a new contract. Charles Robinson, Yahoo Sports Insider, said it's one of two things. Either he wants a new contract, or he wants more money, or he and Vrabel aren't getting along.
Or Downing,
but it's probably Vrabel.
Yeah.
So, and I do wonder, the Vrabel thing we talked a lot about on Friday. I do wonder if, as publicly as Vrabel and Robinson backed Tannehill after the Bengals game, I do wonder how much up his rear Vrabel was for costing him that game. Because Vrabel's the kind of guy, I've told you the story about the Matthew Fisher-Davis foul, right?
I don't think so.
So Vanderbilt played an NCAA tournament game in 2017. And they were up by a point late in the game, and Matthew Fisher-Davis at Vanderbilt thought they were down a point, and he fouled the guy. So they're up a point, and he fouls the guy from Northwestern who makes the free throws, and Vanderbilt loses. Crazy, right? So I put on the grid for the next day's show, what would Floyd say to Matthew Fisher-Davis if he were coaching him? And Floyd looks at me and goes, what do you want me to say about this? And I was like, I don't know. What would you say if you were coaching? Hey, he goes, I'd look at him and I'd be like, you cost us the effing game. And I do wonder.
Truth hurts sometimes.
I do wonder if Vrabel did some of that. But let's focus on the contract element of this with Tannehill, because here's what I find to be astounding. First of all, I can see where Tannehill would get the idea from that he wants more money. But I can't get over this. Total cash paid to Ryan Tannehill. $72.5 million from the Miami Dolphins over 8 seasons. 67.4 from the Titans. So in 3 seasons, he's made almost as much money from the Titans as he did in 8 seasons from the Dolphins. And dude, you have not performed up to your contract. At least not in my opinion. But then this is the other side of it too, which is the actual cash that gets put in his pocket. Remember, we talk about the salary cap numbers and things like that. So everybody assumes that Ryan Tannehill is making $38 million this year because everybody knows his cap number is the highest in the league at $38 million. But that's not really the case. Tannehill is going to make $29 million in real money this season. And we played the Charles Robinson clip, and Charles Robinson said the average guys are getting 30 now. The good guys are getting 40. The great guys are getting 50. So highest paid quarterback this year in cash. Do you know who that is?
Deshaun Watson.
Nope. Matthew Stafford, $61.5 million this year. Josh Allen, $46.9 million this year. Deshaun Watson, $46 this year. Aaron Rodgers, $42 this year. Kirk Cousins, $40 this year. Patrick Mahomes, $29.5 this year. Tannehill, $29. And then after him, Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, Jimmy G, Derek Carr, Matt Ryan, Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's going to get a new contract here in the near future. That number will go up. Lamar, Dak Prescott, Baker. So basically, Ryan Tannehill is the line between the very expensive guys and the not so expensive guys. And it wouldn't surprise me, going back to the tone deafness of Tannehill, it would not surprise me if the same guy who was, because we haven't really taken into account the idea of the ignorance of him not speaking on locker cleanout day. Like him not speaking on locker cleanout day, coming back and meeting with the media, next week or whenever he shows up, and when the PR staff sits him down, because the PR staff is going to have to sit Tannehill down and be like, hey, here's the questions you're going to get. And they pretty much haven't stopped since you left. And him being like, it's really that big of a deal that 4 months ago I didn't talk after the Bengals game the day. I talked after the game, but I didn't talk the next day, and that's a big deal.
Yes.
Yes. And, we haven't factored that in there. But if Tannehill is that ignorant, or is that ignorant that not showing up to voluntary workouts because, AJ's not, and Derek's not, and Simmons isn't, if that is actually the case, then boy, does he have something coming for him if he thinks that he can ask for a new contract. Because if it got out that he asked for a new contract, this is why you have to have good agents, and I don't know his agent, but, this is why you have to have good agents. Because if it got out that Ryan Tannehill thinks he's underpaid, whatever is left of defending him in this city, I mean, I don't even know if Buck could defend him if he came out and asked for more money. I'm serious. That is something. And you know what's crazy? I think Charles Robinson's probably right. It probably is about the money.
Because
more
really no other explanation that we had really made a lot of sense.
Well, I mean, it did. Vrabel was not happy that he wasn't there. Robinson did talk about quarterbacks. They did talk about quarterbacks at the combine. They did go to some pro days. Robinson didn't, but Vrabel went to Desmond Ritter's pro day. I mean, this goes back to the whole Deebo Samuel thing, right?
Then is he angry with the general manager and the coach?
I don't know why Deebo Samuel wants out of San Francisco. Nobody knows why Deebo Samuel wants out of San Francisco. And the reason nobody knows is because Deebo's not telling anybody. And so Ryan Tannehill's not there, and Ryan Tannehill's posting his vacation pictures, and nobody knows why. And Ryan Tannehill's not talking to anybody, which leads us to start assuming.
He's doing promoted videos with Lauren.
I did see that today.
Yeah.
But, again, I go back to this, all of these are valid. To me, they're all valid. Could he be mad at the general manager for talking about drafting a quarterback? Maybe. Could he be mad at the coach because the coach is up his rear end behind the scenes because Vrabel is a no-nonsense guy? Maybe. Could he be mad because he wants more money? Maybe. I think they're all fair. The only, I have no sympathy for him on any of these, but the one that would get me going is if he wants more money. Because I want to give him less money. That's how I view it. I don't think he deserves what he's getting. I think you can get him anywhere. I really think that Ryan Tannehill, and I'm not going to compare him to Carson Wentz, but you could do what the Colts did in any given offseason and end up with a guy as good as Ryan Tannehill. You can do what they did, which was, we'll just wait, and there'll be somebody who we want that'll shake loose from the tree. Oh, hey, it's Matt Ryan. And then if worst case scenario comes, you end up with Baker at quarterback. And while I guess I would probably prefer Tannehill to Baker, I certainly think Baker has more upside than Tannehill, or more potential. I haven't ruled out in my head that you can win a Super Bowl with Baker. I have with Tannehill. But, I mean, if Tannehill wants more money, I don't think that's an option. I don't even think that's an option from the Titans. I think if he walked in there and he said to John Robinson, hey, or if John Robinson's agent called Ryan Cowden, because that's usually how this stuff gets done. It's usually not player tells GM until, you really get down to the nitty-gritty. But if it got to John Robinson, Ryan Tannehill wants a new contract. I mean, I'd be like, first of all, how dare you?
That kind of goes back to the tone deafness. We said, how in the world could you not understand that you posting that Instagram when you don't show up to voluntary workouts after the offseason that you've had? How in the world can you be so tone deaf? If it is the contract situation coming off the season that he has had with the amount of money that he has been making with the Tennessee Titans, how can you be so tone deaf to ask for more?
I do have a theory, though. I'm going to give him a week. A whole week. So I'm going to give him this week and all of next week because I don't know what their offseason program schedule is. But I would assume that by the end of next week, there will be more offseason program workouts and time to speak. And I will not assume why Tannehill is not here or what Tannehill is mad about. I will not assume that until the end of next week. Like, I will not make an assumption one way or another about why, because I think he'll talk by then. And if he hasn't talked by then we got some problems. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. And we are to your phones. And I do wonder on the Charles Robinson front about Tannehill. I do wonder about what's that mean for quarterback? Like Thursday night. What's that mean? We'll get to that coming up next. 615-737-1025 here on Stillman & Company. It's ESPN 1025 The Game. And, of course, we're always streaming on the Game Nashville app. Let me tell all the fine folks out there, do not miss Nashville's best draft coverage starting at 5 o'clock on Thursday and on Friday on 1025 The Game, presented by Social Furniture, Apple Collision Centers, Farm Bureau Health Plans, and the Nashville Sheriff. Be sure to join us on site as 1025 The Game will be broadcasting live Thursday from 3rd and Home, Germantown's Bar with a Ballpark, and on Friday at 312 Pizza Company in Germantown. You can watch all of our live coverage of the draft via 1025 The Game's Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Stillman & Company. It's ESPN 1025 The Game.
This is Phil Tomasino, and this is Smashville.
Cousins put it in front of the score. Tomasino lofts it in. 2-0 Nashville.
This is a flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network. ESPN 1025 The Game.
Don't miss the historic opening of Geodis Park on May 1st as Nashville SC comes home for the first time of the 2022 season. Become a season ticket member starting at only $357 to ensure you are there for the big day. Come on in and grab a seat at NashvilleSC.com/22ticks.
Pro Golf is back in Middle Tennessee. Mark your calendars for the Simmons Bank Open, May 5th through 8th. You can see the next wave of PGA Tour stars. Be sure to visit the Sand Trap at the 14th hole and check out great local food trucks, including Hattie B's, Hogwood Barbecue, Dream Burger, Padrino Pops, cocktails from Jack Daniels, and try the Sand Trap Cream Ale from New Heights Brewing Company. Purchase your tickets now at SimmonsBankOpen.com.
Celebrating mothers everywhere, Electronic Express has what you need to make this the best Mother's Day yet. Spoil mom with brands like Zwilling, KitchenAid, Samsung, LG, Dyson, and more. We've also got huge savings in every department: computers, home theater, housewares, smart home furniture, and more. Plus, save up to 40% on all appliances with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online with free express delivery on most items. Shop spring savings at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Smokeville Smoke Shop has been serving Hendersonville and Metro Nashville since 2015 and is committed to providing high-quality, hands-on, and personable customer service. Stop into Smokeville Smoke Shops in Hendersonville, Gallatin, Hermitage, and Goodlettsville to try any of their wide selection of locally sourced products and selection of top nationwide brands, including vapes, hookah, hand-blown glass, detox systems, e-juices, kratom products, leaf wraps, and much more. Visit Smokeville Smoke Shops today.
Floyd Mayweather launched Mayweather Boxing and Fitness when he officially retired as a 50-0 champion. Introducing the first Mayweather Boxing and Fitness location in Nashville. Perfect for all fitness levels. Join a community that will help every person unleash their inner champ. Become a founding member today. Stop by the studio at 2041 Broadway, Suite C, or call 629-206-9092 to join the family exclusive. Pre-opening rates now available. Mayweather Boxing and Fitness, the gold standard in boxing fitness.
Spring is in the air, and that means all kinds of fun in the sun is just around the corner. But if you're feeling low energy, if you've put on weight and just aren't getting the gains from your workouts, if you aren't sleeping well and your libido isn't what it used to be, maybe you aren't looking forward so much to sunny days and shirtless weather. This is Kim for the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and if this sounds like you, we might very well have the answer, because you may very well be suffering from low testosterone. And that, my friend, is something that can be effectively treated to get you back to the guy you used to be. The Tennessee Men's Clinic has treated thousands of men for low T. Our treatment programs are highly effective with most men seeing results in just a few weeks. Assuming you're like most guys, you'll sleep better, have better workouts, have higher energy, and your sex life might just improve as well. So give us a call. Just $99 gets you a PSA and T test and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090. Or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra. Results vary.
ESPN's Teron Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
On the field chemistry, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a process.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
When you draft players, it's not just for one season, it's for a career.
Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What's up, Nashville? This is Stephen A. Smith. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 The Game.
You pick a player where there's already a player at that position, specifically quarterback. How sensitive do you have to be for the person that's already in that position when you make a long-term investment in somebody else?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have that conversation with the player. We've done that before. We've taken a player at a position that we had and was a veteran player, and at the end of the day, I had a conversation with the player that was on the team. He understood, that's what it is. Again, we tell the players, we're trying to create as much competition as possible at every position, and trying to put the team in the best position to go win football games. But it's just transparency and conversation, upfrontness, with the player, as we have done in the past at other positions.
You think Ryan will be okay with that?
I haven't had that conversation with. I don't know who we're going to pick yet, Jared. So.
There you go, John Robinson. I don't know who we're going to pick, Jared.
A little sassy.
Well, I mean, wouldn't you have that conversation with him ahead of time? Quarterback in the NFL is not the position where, hey, we want to get as much competition as the field as possible. That is not where you want to be if you think you've got a quarterback. What's the old saying? If you got two quarterbacks, you got no quarterbacks. And so, I mean, we're sitting here, Charles Robinson, Yahoo Insider, on Robby and Rexrode this morning saying, look, it's either he's mad at the coach or he wants a new contract. Well, imagine if Ryan Tannehill is sitting there, minding his own business. I love when these players say that they don't keep up with the draft. It's total bullcrap. Of course they watch the draft. And Tannehill is sitting there minding his own business Thursday night, and all of a sudden you hear that ESPN music, that lets you know that the pick is in. And with the pick, Roger Goodell walks up to the podium, and with the 26th pick and the, it would be even better. We have a trade.
Ooh.
The Tennessee Titans are now on the clock with the 18th overall selection.
Ooh.
Okay, what's that mean, Mel? Well, I think right here you got to look at their needs. I mean, could they go with Penning out of Northern Iowa? I mean, he could probably play that right tackle position they've spent the last 2 years trying to get figured out. They could perhaps be making a move to get out ahead on Treylon Burks out of Arkansas. It's all interesting here. Roger Goodell is at the podium, and the pick is in.
Ding, 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 ding.
With the 18th overall pick, the Tennessee Titans select Kenny Pickett, quarterback out of Pittsburgh. By the way, some guy apparently, I saw something on Twitter today, some guy put $500 down on Kenny Pickett to the Titans, and it would pay $37,000 if it ends up hitting. But let's say that happens. Now, I'm not a huge Pickett fan. Not that I evaluate quarterbacks. Let me, say I'm not a huge Pickett fan. But if that happens, we'll probably be all digital by then on Thursday night, right?
Probably so.
So I can say the S word, right?
If you'd like.
Because they would be like, oh, S, if that happens.
Snap.
But if Tannehill, again, going back to the idea that Tannehill might actually want a new contract, what happens then?
I mean, what did Floyd say? You have to go into the draft, knowing what your future is going to look like. All of your T's crossed and your I's dotted.
So what you're saying is that all decisions have to be made.
Right.
Which is why
the draft
is
in 2 days.
I'm glad you've brought that up. Ian, please give me the Floyd Reese decision-making breakdown.
Here's the number one do. Make all the decisions before draft day. Now, technically, that's going to be impossible, but you want to go through and decide, have all of your mock drafts drawn up, have your top 150 all aligned the way you want. So if there's a dispute as to who's a better player between John Jones and Bill Smith, you can look up there on your board and see how you've rated them, and you stick with that. But anything about possible trades, about possible cuts, about anything along those lines, you want those decisions made prior to draft day so that when you go in there, all you're going to worry about are the new things that are going to pop up, and there will be a bunch of those.
Okay, so we have to make all the decisions before the draft. Would you like to read the decision right there as we make our second draft decision so far? The first one is that we're not making an assumption that Dylan Radins is starting at right tackle for the Titans.
Correct.
Will you please read the second decision, the official decision that I have already made, already written down, and if you're watching the stream, I just handed to you.
Ryan Tannehill is not underlined, not a factor in decision making, but he is underlined is the quarterback in fall 2022.
Okay, anybody have a problem with that decision?
No, I think that feels like it's kind of aligned with what reality is going to be.
Ian?
So go back over that again.
Okay, Ryan Tannehill is not a factor
in
any decision that we make on Thursday night or Friday night or Saturday morning.
Just don't keep him in mind. Just do what you got to do regardless.
Doesn't matter. If Kenny Pickett is the 19th player on the board and we're sitting there at 26 in our draft room and Kenny Pickett's there and we like Kenny Pickett, and I have no freaking clue if the Titans like any of these guys or not. But if he's there, you pick him. But Tannehill's still the starter. I mean, then you have to have the press conference and you have to say, let me do my John Robinson. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great question, T. I just got off the phone with Ryan, and Ryan, he knows that, we want to be a good, tough, physical football team, play Titan football, and competition's always been a big part of it, and, but Ryan's our starting quarterback. That would be the answer.
Probably so.
So that's how I feel about I mean, in the past, it's been like, well, I don't need to worry about quarterbacks. You got Mariota, or, this is Mariota's last year, so you're not going to draft a quarterback, plus the quarterbacks in that draft stink. And then it's like, okay, well, then what now? Tannehill's quarterback, so you're not going to draft a quarterback, even when you're on the clock. Plus, Titans been picking so late recently that the quarterback discussion really hasn't been a thing. This year, Ryan Tannehill is not a factor in decision-making for the draft. Because I don't view him as the long-term solution at quarterback for the Titans. And I don't think the Titans view Ryan Tannehill as the long-term solution at quarterback for the Titans.
So why would he not be a factor in this year's draft?
Because he's not. If he were a factor in last year's draft where he was the long-term choice at quarterback, you wouldn't draft the quarterback because you have Tannehill. Well, now you're drafting a quarterback if you want to draft a quarterback.
Isn't him not being the answer long-term, doesn't that make that a factor in this year's draft? Because don't you have to prepare for the future?
No. So the difference is if you don't have a quarterback, then you're looking for a quarterback.
Okay.
So if you're a team that does not have a quarterback, Carolina.
Pittsburgh.
Is looking. Pittsburgh is looking. Seattle is looking. All these teams are looking. Now, they're picking high enough. Pittsburgh is the exception here. They're picking high enough that they're probably not, like, Carolina can't take a quarterback in this class at 6. They just can't do it. But, and Seattle can at 9. But if you move back to, 13, you can probably pick a quarterback and feel okay with it because you're looking for a quarterback. Cleveland is not looking for a quarterback. Green Bay is not looking for a quarterback. None of these teams are looking for Titans, they're not looking for a quarterback.
But if one falls into their lap.
But they're not committed to a quarterback either.
Okay. That makes sense.
So it's like in Green Bay, they decided in 2020 that they weren't going to give a rat's tail about Aaron Rodgers when they went and did the Jordan Love thing, and it sent Aaron to the moon. Well, I don't care if Ryan Tannehill gets sent to the moon over this. That's the decision that I have made today, that on Thursday or Friday, because these quarterbacks, I don't know anything about Carson Strong. I don't know anything about Bailey Zappi. I'm sure they're not any good, but I don't know. And so if they're there with that, was it 93rd or whatever, that second pick they have, and if they like the quarterback, take them. And don't worry about it. Don't worry about hurting Tannehill's feelings because we've decided it doesn't matter. So that's the other thing here. So then just go back to the, is Tannehill looking for money? Does he think he deserves more? And then, wham, Kenny Pickett to the Titans. Now what are you going to do? And that's where Vrabel basically has to be like, deal with it. But if you already make the decision ahead of time that you're going to say, deal with it, then you go from there.
Then you can do it.
I don't know how Tannehill's going to take that. Tannehill has proven in the past to show a little bit of sensitivity sometimes.
Well, I mean, we don't know the reason why he wasn't at voluntary workouts, but we said one possibility could be he's frustrated that Vrabel could have, gotten on him after that Bengals game. And if that's his response to his coach getting on him, rightfully so, then, yeah, that would show a little bit of sensitivity.
Well, I mean, he was sensitive. He was not happy when he didn't make the Pro Bowl last year in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was not happy about that. And I was kind of surprised because, a lot of guys, they get snubbed and they kind of suck it up. Like, oh, I'm too good to act like I should care about that,
Right.
Whatever. But he was like, nah, I mean, he was mad that Deshaun Watson made it over him. And so, when he's wanted you to know something, whether it's the vaccine,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's the Pro Bowl, when he wants you to know something, he lets you know. Which goes back to this, when he didn't take the blame for the Bengals loss. But again, as far as, if we were to make decisions for the Titans, we've made 2 of them. Dylan Radins is not the assumed starter at right tackle. Number 2, Ryan Tannehill is not a factor in decision-making on this year's draft. So once you decide that, and then I say, okay, Tannehill's on the phone, he's furious. You know what ultimately the reaction is? I already decided I don't care. I already decided I don't care. 615-737-1025. We made our second draft decision. We're to your phones next because I know they're lined up on Tannehill. 615-737-1025. It's Stillman & Company on ESPN 1025 The Game.
Do you have that one person or thing that just makes you mad? Join us every Friday at noon on the DDC for You Just Made the List. Fueled by Parman Energy. Visit ParmanEnergy.com. Your one-stop petroleum solution, and TriStar Movie on the DDC on ESPN 1025 The Game.
You just made the list!
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Lots of sunshine this afternoon thanks to that drier air blowing in from the north and west, but it's also colder air, which is why highs will only reach the low to middle 60s.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
The 2022 Major League Soccer season is officially here, and the Nashville SC Stadium nearly complete. Don't miss Nashville SC's home opener May 1st. Grab a seat at NashvilleSC.com/22ticks.
Get a great deal on versatile Kubota equipment today, like Kubota BX and L Series compact tractors, part of our under 100 horsepower tractor lineup rated #1 for reliability. Z Series mowers and Sidekick utility vehicles. Stop by your local Kubota dealer today. Bring home the Kubota L2501 tractor for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 60 months, plus save up to $1,100 now through June 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more details.
Krebs Kubota. Stop in, click, or call. Visit them online at KrebsKubota.com.
If you snore, it may be a sign of a more serious, possibly life-threatening condition. Most people think of snoring as a nuisance, but it's a much more serious medical condition than you think. Snoring has been associated with chest pain, sleep apnea, high blood pressure, chronic pain, obesity, headaches, and sore throat. Take a listen to what some of our patients are saying about the revolutionary Vivo system.
Right after I started using it, I noticed the results really, especially with the snoring. My sleep apnea episodes are a fraction of what they were before. This product's phenomenal. It changed my life.
I am 100% happy that I did this, and I'm thankful every day that I had it.
If you're curious about our sleep devices, call now for a sleep consultation. Don't let your spouse have to sleep in the guest room, and don't risk the severe health complications of snoring and sleep apnea.
Dr. Kelly Rice is certified to provide the Vivo system to open the airway for a better night's sleep. Call 615-373-4488 or go to BrentwoodSleepApnea.com to see which therapy can work best for you.
Individual results may vary. Always seek the advice of your health provider with any questions regarding a medical condition.
Finding the right person for the job isn't easy. Just ask someone who hired a lounge singer to be their office receptionist.
Hello, this is Mickey Marquis, and you've reached the office of Doug & Associates. Thank you very much. Catch me Tuesday nights at the Hotel Johnson. Hello?
But if you've got an insurance question, you can always count on your local Geico agent. They can bundle your policies, which could save you hundreds.
Doug & Associates, this is Mickey Marquis. Hello?
For expert help with all your insurance needs, visit geico.com/local today.
And now it's Geico's Motorcycle Rules of the Road. Avoid biking in the rain and never touch another person's bike.
Hey guys, look at these bikes. So shiny. Whoops. I'm gonna leave a note. Oh gosh, there's more.
And the rule to saving on motorcycle insurance is, in 15 minutes, Geico could save you 15% or more.
You're the one everyone looks to for answers. Come rain or shine, the job must get done, and you're the one who makes it happen. We get you, Jackie in Fresno, putting your employee safety first. And Manny in Chattanooga, whose local Granger team knows him by name. We're here for you and all the ones who get it done, with 24/7 customer support and access to product specialists to help you find what you need. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Meshing journalism.
They are 2 scores behind you. The math says that increases your chances of winning.
With sports fandom.
I stayed up till 1:30 in the morning, just emotionally numb from Titans and Packers.
And sarcasm.
You guys are the worst.
Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode are Robby and Rexrode. No duh. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Watch live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
Stillman and Company is on. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Tannehill not showing up. I'll be completely honest with you. I think I told you this last week. I was surprised. Like I don't understand what exactly the math is there, unless, and I guess I just never thought it would come to this kind of a situation. We're seeing where the quarterback money's going, right? And if he is going to be, the long-term piece there in Tennessee, he is underpaid. His deal is very, very underpaid for what he brings to the table. I know people probably don't want to hear that, but the fact of the matter is, like, mid-level quarterbacks now, and I'm talking like your 15th, 16th, 17th guys in the league, those contracts are heading to $30 million a year. That's where this is going. And the top-level quarterbacks are going to 50. That's the Joe Burrow. That's the, Justin Herbert, if all things come in the way that they're supposed to come in. Eventually Lamar Jackson, if he can, put together a healthy season in 2022. We're talking about upper 40s to low 50s for the next wave of quarterback contracts. And that means Ryan Tannehill, if you're keeping him, he is a quarterback that you're going to have to pony up for and figure out how to move forward with that. So that's all I can tell you. It makes no sense to me. Anybody who doesn't show up, particularly a quarterback that would be expected to show up for the volunteer stuff, and build chemistry, when that doesn't happen, I rarely see it. It's either a massive personality conflict, usually with a head coach and a quarterback, or it's money. One of the two.
There you go, Charles Robinson, Yahoo Sports NFL insider this morning on Robby and Rexrode, saying either he's mad at the coach or he's underpaid. And at a yearly salary of $29 million this year and $27 million cash next year, that would be underpaid, and there wouldn't be a lot of security. And going back to the $27 million, that is for next year, because more guys like Russell will be making $50 a year by the time that happens. Lamar will be making, whatever by then. 27, he'll look at it and be like, yo, that's chump change for me, bro. But how dare he if he asked for more money? A lot of this would be a lot simpler if he just would have shown up to voluntary workouts. None of this would have happened.
That's the thing. Like, it's easy to label the good quarterbacks, and it's easy to label the bad quarterbacks. So if Ryan Tannehill was just a really good quarterback, we wouldn't be in this mess.
No, I mean,
we wouldn't be in a lot of messes.
It's a
but
lot
this
easier.
one included.
It's like I was saying on Sirius this weekend. It's easy if you got Joe Burrow. It's easy if you got Daniel Jones. It's not easy if you've got Kyler Murray. Let's go to your phones. As promised, 615-737-1025. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
One texter texts in and says Ryan Tannehill is almost surely sitting out until AJ is paid. They're tight, and he is supporting his friend.
Okay, so I will say this. I did watch the little video. Now, I don't know why Tannehill is in cahoots with Peyton, but apparently he is, because that's the Omaha Productions, which is Peyton's company. And so I guess there was like, when I haven't been to any bridal showers, thank God, but when they, like, at weddings, when it's like, oh yeah, who initiated the first kiss, and it's like, and they show like, oh, he
it's
did,
like little
and
games,
he did, that thing.
Who said I love you
so
first?
I guess he and his wife Lauren Tannehill did one of those for Peyton's Omaha Productions. And in the little snippet of the video on Instagram this morning, what I saw was like, how many teammates would you not let watch the kids? And they were like, oh, there's a lot of teammates who wouldn't let watch kids. What about which ones you would let them watch the kids? And they're like, oh yeah, AJ, absolutely, we'd let AJ watch the kids. And I'm like, okay. So they like kind of went out of their way. And then they later, and boy, did they lick his rear end on that one. But I mean, they went out of their way to put that clip in there that they do that for AJ. I don't think he's waiting for AJ to get paid because we talk to Hal Gill about this every week when it came to the Forsberg contract, and he's like, I always viewed things outside the room as like, that's your business. Andrew Brandt wrote it in Monday Morning Quarterback today, the difference between me season and we season. And right now it's me season. And then once you start getting into like the mandatory mini camps and training camp, it becomes we season. Although Andrew Brandt, I think, worked for the Packers, and the way the Packers are run right now,
It's a lot of me seasons.
it's me season for Aaron Rodgers every season. But right now we're in me season, and I would say that it'd be in Tannehill's best interest to not worry about AJ. What's next?
Another texture says, until Tannehill and the passing offense can produce a 4,000-yard season, he has no right to ask for a new contract. He's already being paid like a proficient passer.
You know, it'd be crazy. What if Tannehill goes out, lights it up this year, and then wants more money? And I'd still say no.
I mean, and then we have the conversation of, is he just doing this in a contract year? Because we've seen him do it in the past.
Well, he's not in a contract year, though.
I guess he would have one more year on his contract, but like asking for
on the hot
the
seat.
Security.
He's on the hot seat. Like, I don't know if he knows if he's on the hot seat because I don't know what's going on in his head, but he's on the hot seat. Even if he goes out there, even if they don't draft Kenny Pickett or they don't draft Matt Corral or they don't draft Desmond Ridder on Thursday night, and Tannehill and Logan Woodside do this together next year, and he stinks it up this season, and the Titans make the playoffs and get bounced in the first round, and he sucks again in the playoffs, like, that's it. He's gone. There's a new quarterback that will be quarterbacking the Tennessee Titans. I am convinced of it. And so if that happens, like, he's on the hot seat, so he is playing for something. But I don't know. You know, I used this last Friday, and I stand by it, which was when he took over as the starter here, nobody really expected anything of him, but nobody hated him. Whereas in Miami, it was the frustrations that he had not become Dan Marino had boiled over. And, you know, so you get out of that situation where you're getting booed at home, and you come here where nobody boos you, and it's great. Well, now the boos are coming. I mean, this show has been a 4-month boo when it comes to Ryan Tannehill, and I stand by it. You know, it's shocking enough that my toe that I now broke Sunday, that I kicked my chair at the game when he threw that first interception, much less interception 2, interception 3. I mean, so maybe the negativity's getting to him. We talk about him being sensitive. Like, maybe that's something that's bothering him. What else we got?
Another texture says, I think Tannehill wants more respect. He wants respect for keeping the team at the top and keeping the Titans in the playoffs.
I would not be surprised if Tannehill feels disrespected.
And I think the contract is just a tangible way of saying, okay, this is how much we respect you.
Right.
This is how much we value you.
I think it's like he knows. Like, he has to know, right?
I mean, maybe he doesn't. Maybe sometimes, it's easy for us from the outside looking into the situation since we have no, emotional investment or financial investment in Ryan Tannehill. I mean, I kind of think you have to know.
Ian, do you think he knows?
Knows what? I'm sorry?
Do you think Tannehill knows that people here are fed up with him?
Oh, I definitely think he has heard some of the fan reaction noise, I would think. But, to be honest, it's almost, I don't know if it's quite 50-50, but it's calmed down a little bit more since right after the game. But I do think he's heard some of it.
See, I think I go back to Roger Saffold at the Pro Bowl. And Roger Saffold with the whole, we were 2-4 when he took over, and he took us to the AFC Championship game. And I mean, that was so spoken like a true buddy, a true soldier, a true pat on the rear end. And the Titans have done some of that, patting him on the bottom. Robinson, Vrabel. But then Vrabel called the interceptions at the Combine. He said that they were unacceptable. And I do wonder if it's like, if you really think that it wasn't my fault and you really think last year wasn't my fault, then give me a new contract because I've won back-to-back divisions here. But, boy, this is where the agent comes in. Rashard Matthews got mad at Matt LaFleur because Matt LaFleur told him that he'd have to earn his spot back when he got hurt. And Rashard Matthews is a little haywire. Mm-hmm. And Rashard Matthews went off the deep end and wanted to quit the team because he felt disrespected. And so you could tell between what Robinson and Vrabel had said was like, hey, like, just be cool, dude. Like, you'll get your spot back, but you got to earn it back. But he's like, I don't have to earn my spot. It's like, no, dude, just be cool. And like, he couldn't get that. So they ultimately ended up releasing Rashard Matthews. And Floyd and Chris Sanders and I were talking about this off air before a pregame show. And Floyd said to Chris that, you know, normally when you feel a certain way like that, you feel disrespected, you call the agent. You call your agent, and your agent is the one that's like, hey, I'll get it smoothed over. We'll discuss it. Or like, whoa now, you know, like, calm down. But Matthews didn't have an agent, and Floyd hypothesized that Matthews was going home to his wife talking about being disrespected. And the wife was like, yeah,
you are.
They're disrespecting you. And, I mean, that's where Tannehill's agent has to be like, dude, we can't ask for a new contract. Like, we just can't do it.
But then at what point is Tannehill going to say, okay, then I'll find an agent who will get me a new contract?
Well, there's no agent that's going to get him a new contract. And considering that his agent is John Robinson's agent, you know, that is also, you know, something that probably doesn't get talked about enough. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Coming up next, Caroline did a deep digging on one of the most important aspects of knowing the draft, which is information. We'll get to that information. I find it very important. We'll do that next. First, she wants to tell you about Seltzerland.
Yes, I do. Seltzerland is turning Nashville into a hard seltzer paradise on Saturday, April 30th at Riverside Golf Links. You can enjoy this one-of-a-kind immersive experience as you spend the day tasting over 100 unique hard seltzers. You can grab a bunch of really delicious local food, tons of seltzer swag, and bust out your Instagram for some very picture-perfect moments. Seltzerland has rounded up the best hard seltzer brands in the land for one epic day dedicated to the bubbly brew everyone cannot get enough of. You don't want to miss out on Seltzerland in 2022, April 30th at Riverside Golf Links.
The MTSU Blue Raiders live here.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee! 3-ball, yes, sir!
And when you're in the borough, tune us in on 97.5.
In the end zone, caught, touchdown!
We are Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Gary Ashton here. I love hearing people say, don't sell without the intel, because it means they're really embracing our message. Now's a great time to sell your home in Nashville, but you need the intel only the Gary Ashton team can provide. Intel that helps you sell your home without any staging or showings. Intel to find your next home so you can sell your current one while the market's hot. Intel to win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity now. Let everyone else get the same information and compete for the same properties, while you get the intel edge with the Gary Ashton team, the official real estate team for your Tennessee Titans. And if you're looking for a great career, join our team. We added 65 new agents last year, and we want you to join us this year. Remember, don't sell without the intel. And if you're looking for a great career, the Gary Ashton team wants you in 2022. Call 615-301-1650 or visit GaryAshton.com today.
Realizing Geico has over 85 years of experience saving folks money and providing great customer service is like realizing there's a crumb tray on the bottom of your toaster, and you don't have to keep turning the toaster upside down to clean it.
How long has that been there? Hey, who needs some croutons?
It's something that's been right there in front of you all along, like the dedicated Geico claims team available to you in the event of an accident to get you back on the road quickly, or realizing that baby carrots are just regular carrots that have been shaved down.
I don't care. They're still cute.
It's something you can't believe you never realized before, like how Geico's 97% customer satisfaction rating means Geico is committed to providing the best service for their customers, or how you can peel the top layer of tape off a lint roller and there's a fresh layer underneath.
Marcy, wait till you hear about the lint roller.
You mean how the handle is reusable?
Wait, what?
Trust. It's just one of the many reasons to switch to Geico. They're all right there in front of you.
The Ainsworth Nashville has been bringing a sophisticated twist to the classic all-American sports bar, restaurant, and private event experience in Midtown since 2018. Our multi-purpose venue consists of a full-scale restaurant, bar and lounge, and event space. Come for the wings, stay for our happy hour, and visit us for brunch on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We've got the good times to keep you singing all night long. The Ainsworth Nashville. Burgers, cocktails, sports.
Visit the Ainsworth at 206 21st Avenue South in Nashville or online at theainsworth.com.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers.
ESPN.
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 1025. The Game streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios at Bridgestone Arena. Preds and Calgary Flames tonight win in regulation, and you are in. So it's a big one tonight. So I was thinking about all the advice that was given to us over the years by the late, great GM. And he had his do's and don'ts at draft day. And one of his do's on draft day was figure out who knows the best stuff.
Be able to get to the guy that always rely on the information gatherer that has the most info. If you're talking about drafting Myles Garrett in the first round, you want your college personnel guy there, you want your head coach there, you want the guy that has scouted him very, very close. The guy that has scouted him has seen him for probably 3 years, 2 years, and will have the most information on him. That's the guy that you want to be able to get to, the guy that has the most information.
Okay. So this morning, I tasked Caroline Fenton with figuring out who of the draft gurus has the best information. I picked 5. I picked Mel Kiper and Todd McShay of ESPN. I picked Daniel Jeremiah, the chief guru of NFL Network. Mm-hmm. I picked Dane Brugler of The Athletic. And in fairness, and I have no idea what the answer is, but I hope he wins because he has the most information for me to be able to read to you about. And Peter King of Football Morning in America, NBC. And I told Caroline, I said, figure out a grading system for their final drafts of 2019, their last mock draft into the draft, because we're here right now, and figure out a grading system to grade these guys on their 3 mock drafts between 2019, 2020, and 2021, and figure out whichever weighting principle you want to go with, because it's easy to get Joe Burrow number 1 overall.
Right.
It's hard to get, 29, I think is usually pretty hard. So grade it however you want, however you weight it. Weight it for the Titans, because if one of these guys has more insight into the Titans than the other guys, then we need to keep an eye on them. And then come up with an idea and rank me these draft gurus. So which draft guru, as the GM would say, has the best information that we should be paying attention to, number 1, between now and Saturday?
So we had a tie.
Oh, no, don't give me a tie.
We had a tie.
How did we get to a tie?
Now, there were 4 that were really all kind of up there together, and there was 1 outlier.
And the outlier's bad?
Outlier is bad.
Can I guess?
Yes.
Kiper.
Yes.
Yes.
So in my grading scale, I gave 3 points to the correct pick, 2 points for the correct position, the correct team, but wrong pick, and that was really just Daniel Jones, pretty much. Like a lot of the draft gurus picked him with the Giants' second pick in the 2019 draft, so on and so forth, or correct order of selection, but the wrong team. So a lot of drafters picked, Marquise Brown to the Eagles and went to the Ravens, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then 1 point for correct position group, wrong player or exact position. So like they, maybe have mocked a safety and they actually picked a corner, whatever it might be. So Mel Kiper was the only draft guru to not breach that 100-point mark. But our 2 winners, our tie for the winner, Dane Brugler, and Peter King.
Okay, so then
they both got the Isaiah Wilson pick correct. So I also gave an extra point if they got the Titans pick correctly.
Oh, so did they win because they got the Titans pick right?
No, I did 2019, 2020, and 2021 drafts individually, and I graded each mock pick, and the actual pick, and all of those scores added up to the exact same.
Really?
Yeah, and actually, Daniel Jeremiah got the Isaiah Wilson pick correct. Todd McShay got the Caleb Farley pick correctly. He was the only one out of those 5 to pick that correctly. And then Mel Kiper in the 2019 picked the correct position group, but not Jeffrey Simmons.
Okay, so give me the final scores for the 5 of them in descending order.
Okay, so in descending order, Mel Kiper.
No. Descending would be going down.
Okay, so Dane Brugler in 2019 had 23 points, 2020 39, and what really got him that top spot is his 2021 draft. That was the highest rated draft of all of them with 53 points.
Okay.
Peter King in 2019 had 38, 2020 44, and 2021 33. So pretty consistent across the board there. Daniel Jeremiah with 109 total points, 2019 36, 2020 41, 2021 32. Todd McShay, close there with 108 points, 2019 36, 2020 31, 2021 41. And then Mel Kiper Jr., 34 in 2019, 31, and then 33 in 2020 and 21 respectively. So when I was going through this, when you got into the 40s, that was like a really good draft. Like you did a pretty good job of mock drafting.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in the 30s, that's pretty average. 53 was the outlier for Dane Brugler. And then, if you're in the high 20s, that was a not so good mock draft.
So now I think we have to look at it like this, which is I view Brugler, I'm going to say Brugler's number 1. And now he's tied with Peter King, but Peter King is not like a draft guru. You know what I mean? Like Peter King does a mock draft, which is pretty amazing, by the way, that Peter King's mock draft is higher than Kiper and McShay's when they, they're supposed to be the draft guys and they put out 15 mock drafts and they're doing all their mock drafts.
Well, I've noticed like sometimes in Mel Kiper Jr.'s mock drafts, he just overthought it too much. Like the trades and
he used to be anti-trades. Then they started mocking trades. And so then he had
threw
to start
a bunch of
trades.
those in there. And then I believe in the 2020 draft, when everyone knew or could assume that Miami was going to go quarterback, he went wide receiver. I mean, I just felt like Mel Kiper Jr. always tried to go against whatever was the normal thing. And of course, picking the top 3 or 4 picks was pretty standard across the board here. But whenever there was one where it was a little bit questionable that I was like, what? Like, you really thought that? That was usually Mel Kiper Jr.
Okay. But see, here's where I'm going to go with Brugler over King.
Okay.
And this is, I think, the important dichotomy here. King probably talks to the teams more. So King probably has the direct line to GMs, coaches, scouting directors, college scouting directors, that kind of thing. Brugler watches the tape more. Mm-hmm. So he's more of like a pure draft guy. This guy ran this in the 40, whereas King is like, I talked to the general manager and this is who they're going to pick. Or I talked to a general manager who told me he thinks this is who they're going to pick. So you see the difference between the two?
Both are valid, but yes, I see the difference.
I think you need both.
Yeah.
And if you're going to work a trade, like if the Titans have decided that they're moving off Tannehill after this year, and that's why they're going to move up to try to get a quarterback, Peter King's going to be the one who knows that.
That's tough to predict from tape.
Right. Dane Brugler's not going to be the one who knows that.
Right.
Now, if the Titans are picking a quarterback at night, say they trade up to pick a quarterback, and Brugler says their system, the Shanahan system, is better suited long-term for Matt Corral than it is for Desmond Ridder, then we go off that information from Dane Brugler. But I think that we've decided, again, you guys heard the cut that we just played. You've got to know who's got the best information, and it sounds like Mel Kiper Jr. has truly the worst information.
That's kind of how it looks. And he was pretty consistent. 2019, 34 points. 2020, 31 points. 2021, 33 points. Like, there was no really
So his drafts
outlier.
really stunk.
They weren't great. But also, Dane Brugler in 2019, on my grading scale, only had 23 points. But in 2021, he had 53.
So he's basically the John Robinson of mock drafts.
Hit or miss.
I mean, it's either freaking Jeffrey Simmons, A.J. Brown, Nate Davis, Amani Hooker, David Long, or it's Isaiah Wilson. And I guess that's Dane Brugler.
That is Dane Brugler, yes.
So Dane Brugler's our guy.
Mel Kiper's pretty consistent, but not very good.
Here's the real reason, honestly, why I'm glad Dane Brugler won. And I had, back me up, I had nothing to do with it.
No, you just gave me the task, and I said, okay.
I just texted you this morning. I'm like, hey, I need you to do something that's going to be hard. I need you to come up with a scale for how you're going to grade the mock draft guru Draft.com experts. Here's the 5 I want graded. And then you have to do the work to go find their 2019 drafts, their 2020 mock drafts, their final mock draft. Now, make sure it's not mock draft 3.0. Make sure it's mock draft 5.0, whatever. You have to find the last mock draft, and then you have to figure out who the best is. And I'm just going to stick it at 4 o'clock, and I'm not even going to think about it until I asked you before the last segment. Did you get that done? Yep. All right, let's go. So it's Dane Brugler, number 1. Peter King tied. Boy, that stinks. I was really hoping there'd be a clear number 1, and I was hoping it would be Brugler because Brugler has a draft guide. If you subscribe to The Athletic, he calls it The Beast. And it is, I mean, in 2020, when there was nothing to do but the NFL draft, I lived off of that thing. And I remember, like, it was so well organized as far as, like, ranking guys 40 times or, you know, kind of his board and how he sees it or whatever. And so Floyd would ask a question like, what'd he run? And it's like, oh, yeah, he ran a 4.43. Ooh, I don't know about that. Or whatever it would be. But I just decided that personally that, like, I love that draft guide. So I was hoping it would be Brugler, but when you told me I wasn't going to interfere because if Todd McShay has the best information, then Todd McShay has the best information. By the way, TD texted me and said, pretty sure the information the GM was talking about was information on the prospects from the schools and scouts, not from draft media. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. We're just having fun with this. And I will say this. There was nobody, good information that he had on speed dial that he trusts. Ian, you know who it was.
That Floyd liked?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, sure do.
John Clayton, R.I.P.
No.
You know, because consistently would say that John Clayton had the best information all the time. And you could tell with them, there was always a little cat and mouse. And it was always like, I'm going to tell him a little something because he's going to have a little something, I'm going to give him a little something. And, but yes, no, we know. When he says who has the best information, it's like, if I think we're going to draft this guy, I want the area scout there because the area scout knows the most. We don't have any area scouts. Right. I just want to know who's the best mock drafter, and apparently it's Dane Brugler. So, add to the list of draft decisions that we have to make on this program by Thursday that Dane Brugler is the number 1 mock draft guru on the list. His opinion matters the most of all the mock draft gurus. Does anybody have a problem with that?
I do not.
Nope.
All right, I was going to say, speak now or forever hold your peace, but you both spoke. 615-737-1025. So with that, what's Dane Brugler think of the Titans? What's he think about who they should pick? What's his latest mock draft say? Since, again, now, he's going to have a mock draft that comes out Thursday, and that'll be the most important mock draft for us. But what's he saying right now? We'll get to that next since he is the guru that we trust the most. 615-737-1025 here on Stillman and Company, 615-737-1025. We'll get your thoughts in as well. FanDuel Sportsbook is my official sportsbook app, and it is the home of Dinger Tuesdays. That's right. You got to love Dinger Tuesdays because they let you take a great crack at the MLB schedule with $5 Dinger Tuesdays. This season, all customers will get $5 for every home run hit by both teams when you place a $25 to hit a home run wager on any Tuesday MLB game. And the best part about Dinger Tuesday is even if your bet loses, FanDuel will pay you $5 for every home run. So what are you waiting for? Go swing for the fences. Pick your home run hitter and turn big swings into big wins. That's right. And again, tons of baseball games to pick from every single Tuesday. There's no better place to bet America's pastime than on America's #1 sportsbook and my official sportsbook app. Go over to the FanDuel Sportsbook, get the FanDuel Sportsbook and use the promo code JGM. That's promo code JGM at sign up. 21 and older and present Tennessee. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires 7 days after receipt. Max bonus $25. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
Here they come, turn 4.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe. Join me for Chasing Checkers every Sunday morning at 8 as we talk all the big stories in NASCAR, IndyCar, and the motor racing world. We'll also talk to some of the big names in the sport. It's Chasing Checkers, presented by Apple Collision Centers and the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway on ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Their hiring platform lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews all in one place. Learn more at Indeed.com/credit.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Hillside Medical Clinic. Is erectile dysfunction damaging your relationship? Are you sick of the pill and all the side effects? Well, welcome to the future. We have a major medical breakthrough. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most advanced form of wave therapy. Backed by 60 clinical studies, our technology uses pressure waves to repair and open up blood vessels. We've helped countless men get rid of their ED. But what is the true end result? Their relationship, even their lives, improve drastically. If you're ready to regain your love life, call us right now, and not only will the assessment and ultrasound be free, we'll also give you a gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. It almost never fails. This is worth $550, and it's free to callers right now. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and experience what I call the happiness ripple effect. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now, 615-576-5000.
When it's more than just your lawn, it deserves the Kubota Z400. Get a head-turning offer on class-leading speed, agility, simple deck height adjustments, and a quality cut. When you need comfort and performance, then you need the professional-grade Kubota Z400. Right now, get the Kubota Z400 mower for 0 down, 0% APR for 36 months, or save $300. Now through June 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Come see why Coleman Tractor Company is one of the largest Kubota dealers in Middle Tennessee, with 4 locations to serve you in Paris, Clarksville, Nashville, and their new location in White House.
It's watching the top players take the ice. It's hard-fought games that end in victory. It's showing your favorite team to your favorite people. Secure your seats for the 2022-23 Nashville Predators season today to ensure you never miss a game at Bridgestone Arena. Plus, enjoy Nashville locker room discounts, exclusive presale offers, and more. Visit NashvillePredators.com/season tickets. Join the Loyal Legion today and paint the town Preds. That's NashvillePredators.com/season tickets. NashvillePredators.com/season tickets.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
Who in the hell is Mel Kiper, in a way? I mean, here's a guy that criticizes everybody, whoever they take. He's got the answers to who you should take and who you shouldn't take. In my knowledge of him, he's never ever put on a jockstrap. He's never been a coach. He's never been a scout. He's never been an administrator. And all of a sudden, he's an expert. He's in our papers 2 days ago telling us who we have to take. We don't have to take anybody that Mel Kiper says we have to take. Mel Kiper has no more credentials to do what he's doing than my neighbor, and my neighbor's a postman, and he doesn't even have season tickets to the NFL.
That was Duke Tobin in 1994, in which, I mean, you got it. See, this is why I miss, like, the old way people used to talk about stuff. Because, you know, nowadays, like, announcers are so afraid to hurt people's feelings, and media people, football people never tell you what they really think. And, oh, yeah, I got a bunch of respect for this guy. And deep down inside, they hate him. You know, but the way it used to be was, like, if you had some beef, you went out, you told the beef. Like, during the COVID shutdowns, there was a replay on Fox. It was the Super Bowl from the Falcons and the Broncos. And so Dan Reeves was coaching the Falcons, and Elway and Shanahan were with the Broncos. And, like, Matt and Summerall always talk about, yeah, they hate each other. Like, Reeves and Elway and Shanahan, Elway and Shanahan hate Reeves, and Reeves hates them. And it's like, yes. And now it's like, I mean, oh, yeah, no, I have a ton of respect for John. You know, John's a great quarterback. I love him. Okay, whatever. And so that was in 1994 when the Colts didn't take a quarterback. Colts ended up in an AFC Championship game. And according to Caroline's breakdown of the draft gurus, you know, I got to say, it sounds to me like Mel Kiper's the worst draft guru out there. Not to throw, you know, any salt in the wound.
And the funny thing was, like, 4 out of the 5 were all so close. You know, of course, they hit certain drafts and missed on certain drafts and missed and hit on different picks, but they were all up there around the same score. And then there's Mel Kiper Jr., like a difference of like 12 to the next closest mock drafter.
That is freaking wild. So Dane Brugler is the official guru, and now Peter King was tied, But Dane Brugler was the official guru of the Titans, of the Stillman and Company show as far as the best information over Caroline's weighted breakdown of these guys' picks. So he's actually got a full 7-round mock draft out, which is pretty crazy. So I'm just going to read you the picks. 26, Kenyon Green, the offensive guard out of Texas A&M. Now, here's my gut on Kenyon Green, which is it sounds like he seems like a pretty nasty guard. Apparently he's got the size, he's got the feet, he's, played against really good competition in the SEC. It sounds like he would be a guy they're looking for. I just don't know if John Robinson believes in taking a guard in the first round because he needed a guard in 2019. He didn't take a guard in the first round. He needed a guard in the second round. He didn't take a guard. Now he took one in the third round, but there's a big difference between Nate Davis in the third round, who's a solid right guard, and when you take a guy in the first round, you expect him to make the Pro Bowl every year. So if they take Kenyon Green, he better make the Pro Bowl every single year.
But I think one thing with Kenyon Green is Texas A&M used him in a lot of different areas on the offensive line. So he can play tackle if he needs to play tackle. He can play, left guard, right guard if he needs to fill in any other area in the offensive line. I mean, he played in 4 different spots in the offensive line, according to Dane Brugler.
But can he play tackle in the NFL?
I don't know. That's not my area of expertise.
And not only that, Robinson had that really ridiculous answer when asked about Radens, which was probably more about his lack of faith in Dylan Radens than it was anything else. But the idea of, I just want to get the best 5 in there. And it's like, if you're taking a guard in the first round, I want you to be taking a guard that for the next 5 years is going to be playing left guard for the Tennessee Titans and clearing the way for Derrick Henry and whomever replaces Derrick and just mauling a hole for him. And it sounds like Green might be that guy, but I don't know. Again, he's the Dane Brugler's the mock draft guru. I am not, but he has Green in the first round. He's got Calvin Austin III out of Memphis in the third round with the 90th pick. What do we think of that?
I couldn't even tell you one way or another.
Ian, do you have any thought on Calvin Austin III out of Memphis?
First blush, without really knowing a whole lot about him, just from what I've read, I think I kind of like the pick. He's a little bit more of a dynamic speed slot guy. Not a big guy, shiftier, and can do some returning.
So it's important to me that Dane Brugler be our guy because I actually have his write-up right in front of me because of Dane Brugler's mock draft guide. So here's what you got on Calvin Austin, who he has the Titans, a wide receiver. Now, remember yesterday we talked about, is wide receiver really a position of need? Because you can argue with me that a lot of these other positions are more needy than this one is. Here's what he wrote the summary was here on Calvin Austin III. Oh, God, why is it like one page and then another page? That's his background, a 3-star. All right, here you go, summary. Overall, Austin's size will always be an issue, but his ball skills and athleticism and without the football give him a chance to be a wide receiver 3 or wide receiver 4 in an NFL offense. His punt return skills will help him stick on a roster. I'm not sure I like that.
Titans need a returner, though.
I know, but in the second round?
Third round.
For a wide receiver, yeah, you're right.
Second pick.
Third round, right. But in the third round, a wide receiver 4 on a team where Bill Polian is like, you only need one. You only need one to pay one wide receiver. You only need one good wide receiver on a team that runs the ball. And it's like, hey, this guy, he's our second pick, and he might be able to be a wide receiver 3 one day. But he can return.
Know. I mean, if he can return, to Ian's point, the Titans have struggled with that in the past.
I don't like it. But he's our guru.
And also the caliber of defenses that you're going to see in the AAC are not even anywhere close to what you're going to be seeing in the NFL.
Let's see. Carson Strong is the 4th round pick out of Nevada, the quarterback. Michael Clemens is an edge rusher out of Texas A&M in the 4th round. Kaylon Barnes is a corner out of Baylor in the 5th round. Perfect. 5th round for a corner. That's perfect. Because you got Farley, Fulton, Molden, Jackson, Screen. Everybody else is just roster guys. and just you go get Greg Mabin back. I don't give a rat's ass. Like, go get that guy. You know, for me, that's perfect. Corner in the 5th round. Don't know anything about the guy. I'm fine with that. Janaea Thomas, a safety out of Georgia Tech in the 6th round at 204. Your thoughts on that? Austin Allen, a tight end out of Nebraska in the 6th round at 219. And for some reason, the Titans don't have a 7th round pick. I think
it was a trade.
It was in the Isaiah Wilson deal.
Yes.
So that when you got like a 7th back and you sent this year's 7th, like you got a last year's 7th and you sent a this year's 7th in order to get rid of Isaiah Wilson, which didn't really do anything for anybody. I mean, it didn't matter. He didn't even show up for his physical with Miami, and I think he was on the practice squad last year for the Giants. So that's what Dane Brugler has. A guard in the 1st round at 26. Again, I'm fine with it if the guard goes to the Pro Bowl every year. Like, there is no, like, if what you get out of Nate Davis, and Nate Davis is fine, but if what you get out of Nate Davis is what you get out of Kenyon Green, and you drafted Kenyon Green 26th overall, that's a bad pick. This is like, Corey Davis, bad pick, even though Corey Davis was on the Titans for 4 years and in the 4th year played okay. Still a bad pick because it was 5th overall and everybody that came after him, and that's how I feel about the Kenyon Green thing.
I mean, back to our discussion earlier about, you're not always going to have your 1st round pick start week 1 right away.
No. But I mean, like, he better be going to the guard. A guard, that would be like drafting a kicker in the 1st round. He better be kicking for me week 1. We're talking about a guard.
What if he can plug in at tackle?
Like down the road?
Maybe
or like
this year?
I mean, again, if you can play
I know that he is a guard. I know that is his position on the roster.
I don't need a rotational guy. I don't need a swing tackle. I just drafted one in the 2nd round maybe last year. I don't need that. I mean, if I'm drafting a guard in the 1st round, we're talking about guard. If you draft a guard in the 1st round of the NFL, that freaking guy better be in that huddle week 1, and he ought to be a good player. It's guard. You can get guard in the 5th round, and then a year later, that guy's starting. Like, Gennaro DiNapoli is a guy who was a backup that, like, never dressed for the Titans. And he was in, out, whatever, and then all of a sudden, guys got hurt or free agency or something, and Gennaro DiNapoli came right in, and he was the starting center and got paid somewhere else, and we never heard from Gennaro DiNapoli again. That's what I want at guard. Like, I want 5th round, get in there, block, never pay attention to you, goodbye.
Then would you be against the pick if that's what ends up happening?
If he's not going to the Pro Bowl every year, I don't like it. I don't know the guy, but I'm not taking a guard in the 1st round. If you take a guard in the 1st round, if you take a guard, if you take a safety, if you take a tight end, if you take those positions and those dudes aren't playing week 1, that's a bad pick because those are not premium positions. You take a quarterback in the 1st round, he might not be ready that 1st year. But down the road, you expect the quarterback to be ready. That I'm fine with. You take a guard, that baby better be out there week 1. 615-737-1025. We got what Dane Brugler told Robby and Rexrode, since he is now our official top draft mock guru. What he told Robby and Rexrode about what the Titans should do. We have that. Plus, we will get to your phones on this. Coming up next, 615-737-1025. Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 1025 The Game. We're always streaming on the Game Nashville app.
Heads up. 106.3 FM is a new way to hear 102.5 The Game from downtown Nashville to Spring Hill on I-65 and on I-24 to Murfreesboro.
Make sure you have that preset on your radio dial.
We're making it even easier to listen to Nashville's best sports talk.
This is going to be awesome. It's like, yes.
Tune in to 106.3.
That's what makes this team better.
And hear the difference.
Don't forget to grab your mom something special this year. Shop at Social Furniture for their Mother's Day sale, where everything is in stock. They have sofas, bedroom sets, and top-name brand new mattresses like Purple, Serta, Sealy, and Simmons on sale now. Running out of time? Well, at Social Furniture, there's no waiting and same-day delivery. Use Social Furniture's financing plan and pay no interest for 1 full year. Shop at Social Furniture today on Charlotte Avenue in West Nashville. Shop local. Shop social. Social Furniture is a proud supporter of your Nashville Predators.
This segment of ESPN 1025 The Game is brought to you by Train Heating and Cooling Systems. Tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent Train dealer. Traininfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
Celebrating mothers everywhere, Electronic Express has what you need to make this the best Mother's Day yet. Spoil mom with brands like Zwilling, KitchenAid, Samsung, LG, Dyson, and more. We've also got huge savings in every department: computers, home theater, housewares, smart home furniture, and more. Plus, save up to 40% on all appliances with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online with free express delivery on most items. Shop spring savings at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Step up to the plate with Days Date. As one of the only Delta 8 brands that is truly single-sourced, quality and consistency is our guarantee. We are local and aim to provide the purest product while educating the consumer every step of the way. Stock up with Days next time at your local smoke shop. Visit us on Instagram at days.d8.official to learn more about our wide array of products and special offers. To browse our product line, visit dazed8.com, DAZED, number 8.com. The highest quality standard of Delta 8.
At Copper Branch, they live life to the fullest. Food is your energy and your life. Located in the heart of downtown Nashville, their goal is to serve you, your friends, and family quality, great-tasting, plant-based power foods. Visit Copper Branch at 601 Church Street for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with convenient and validated parking during library hours, and download their app for curbside pickup. Or come out for songwriter and live music nights several times throughout the week to empower, energize, and feel your best. Visit Copper Branch today.
Now's the time to get the Kubota Z200 mower. It's built to cut quickly and like a pro, so you can get the zero-turn agility and effortless precision you need to turn your lawn into a work of art. Right now, get the Kubota Z200 mower for 0 down, 0% APR for 36 months, now through June 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
2 locations to serve you, Columbia Kubota or Franklin Kubota. Visit us online at ColumbiaKubota.com or FranklinKubota.com.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
I love my Charmin Super Mega Golden Rolls, yeah. Gold last long, it's TP Gold, yeah. Charmin's got 6 rolls in one, lasts forever on my buns. Only Super Mega when I'm cleaning. Charmin's got my booty believing.
Charmin Super Mega Roll is 6 regular rolls in one. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
The sounds. Play ball.
That ball's going to drop. Base hit. Wilson around third. In to score.
The Nashville Sounds are back on the road to take on the St. Paul Saints.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Sounds win.
Coverage begins at 6:20 on your home for the Sounds.
ESPN
94.9 and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Gary Bettman. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025, The Game.
Can you talk through Zion Johnson and Kenyon Green, this prospect?
Yeah, both those guys, I mean, big, strong players. Both guys have played a couple different positions. You know, really Zion has played 3 positions. Kenyon's played, both guard and tackle. They're strong. They're good movers. Both of those guys were good when we met with those guys. They're good prospects.
There you go, John Robinson on Kenyon Green and Zion Johnson. Now, what I worry about is if it comes down into the draft room Thursday between Kenyon Green and Zion Johnson, and they will supposedly have made this decision ahead of time, because, again, what's the rule? Make all your decisions before you get there.
Right.
Vrabel's going to stump for the kid from Boston College who was roommates with his son. Like, he's going to stump for it. And he might hold Isaiah Wilson over John's head on this one of like, dude, I know this kid.
I can character vouch.
Remember,
a
last
lot.
time we didn't know. And so there you go. Dane Brugler is our official chief guru as far as the draft is concerned, because Caroline researched between him, Mel Kiper, Todd McShay, Daniel Jeremiah, and Peter King. And we found out that he and Peter King were the best. And Dane Brugler's got the most information as far as putting out a whole draft guide. Here's what he said on Robby and Rexrode last week about what the Titans should do in the draft.
I think there are 2 guards there that really make a lot of sense. Zion Johnson from Boston College, Kenyon Green, Texas A&M. Zion Johnson, 6'3", 315, can play center as well if you need that in a pinch, or maybe be the long-term answer there. He's got an awesome story. Just growing up, he was mainly a golfer before trying football later on in high school. Goes to Davidson, the FCS level, transfers up to Boston College, bets on himself, and he develops into this first-round quality player. You love the size, you love the movement skills. The play strength is outstanding. And he's also just one of the best conversations I've had throughout this draft process. Just really smart, really sharp. He knows what the entire offensive line is supposed to be doing. He understands what the defenders are trying to do based on scheme and his reads. So Zion Johnson, I think I just explained the reasons why he won't be there for the Titans, but you never know. He could be. And then Kenyon Green, you love the versatility. Started at 4 different positions this past year for the Aggies. And I think that's something that's really appealing about him is just his ability to adapt. The balance that he plays with before and after contact is outstanding. And he's a young player. He just turned 21 years old. You feel like you're getting him at a point where he's going to get better and better and better. So either one of those two players, I think, is a plug-and-play guard, but also has some of that position flex if you need to reshuffle things up front.
There you go. So that's what he said about them. All I say is this. If you take either guy in the first round, what is the one thing that has to happen?
I don't know.
Ian, what has to happen? If you take either Zion Johnson or Kenyon Green, according to Dane Brugler, what has to happen?
Pro Bowler.
Has to make the Pro Bowl. Got to make the Pro Bowl. There is no – first of all, you'd be replacing a guy who made the Pro Bowl. Now, do I think that Roger Saffold at this point is a Pro Bowler? Probably not. Gets hurt way too much for me, but he did make the Pro Bowl. So you're replacing the Pro Bowl, a Pro Bowler, so you got to go in and you got to make the Pro Bowl. You don't have to be Quentin Nelson. Quentin Nelson for the Colts is going to the Hall of Fame. But to point out how invaluable guard is, Indianapolis has had Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly, and their other guard just signed for a bunch of money, I believe, with the Giants. So they've had a great interior of their offensive line. What's that done for them in terms of winning and losing?
Not much.
So, again, I know that, you get these good D tackles. They like to rush from the middle. Okay, fine. Guard, not a premium position in my book. But that's just, again, if you take them, better go to the Pro Bowl. I mean, one time the Titans took Chance Warmack. And, I mean, Chance Warmack freaking sucked. But they took him like 9th or something overall in a terrible draft, but still. And he was a guard, and he was like a turnstile. And every time the Titans would get sacked, they'd show the replay in slow motion, and you'd see the quarterback, and it was like the guy that Warmack had in front of him just went right by him, just right to the quarterback to sack him every time. And I just remember watching it and just going, Warmack, every freaking time. And I remember talking about Warmack because he was on the Titans that last year, and then he got hurt, and then they never cared about him again. He's the only player, I believe, in the history of the NFL to take out an insurance policy on loss of value and claim on it. So, like, it was, hey,
wow.
if I don't get a second contract, here's the insurance premium, and then I can claim. And he literally claimed money because he was no good.
It's pretty smart.
Which is also incredibly depressing if you're actually getting that money. It's like, yeah, I suck.
It's money, though.
But I say this on the Warmack front. I remember talking to Floyd about it, and Floyd was like, if you draft a guard in a top 10, he better be Bruce Matthews. And Bruce Matthews is only one of the greatest players in the history of the Oilers/Titans. So that's how I feel about guard. You take a guard in the first round, that guy better be in the Pro Bowl. Because I can go get a guard. I mean, Aaron Brewer can go fill in, and I'll be okay. But if I'm taking a guard in the first round, you better be a mean, nasty, killing people. Better go there right there at the start of this season. 615-737-1025. What do we have on our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com?
One texter texts in and says, couldn't agree more about the importance of not taking a guard in the first round. Out of PFF's top 40 guards in the league, only 8 were drafted in the first round. That means 32 of the top 40 were drafted after round 1 or not at all. A good guard is available anywhere in the draft.
So that's the other point with this, too, which is, again, like the reason that only 8 of their top 40 were taken in the first round is because, for the most part, people don't draft guards in the first round. Mm-hmm. It's just not, people don't draft kickers in the first round. They don't draft, I was thinking about, like, when you look at a board and however you stack it, they always talk about, vertically and horizontally. So, you stack it vertically so that and I talked to Floyd about this one time about, the coaches and the difference between coaches and what they know and what executives know. And he was like, here's the thing about being GM. He said, I can ask the offensive line coach, what do you think about that guard versus that guard? And the offensive line coach can give me a pretty good answer. What that offensive line coach doesn't know is who's better, that guard or that inside linebacker. And the big question is, is that inside linebacker better than that guard? And that's what you have to decide when you're the one calling the shots in the draft. But what it is a lot of these guys are looking at the premium positions and saying tackle, quarterback, outside, pass rusher, outside linebacker. If you've got a real mean, nasty Bosa type guy as a defensive end, if you've got one of those just mammoth space eating, just killing defensive tackles like Vince Wilfork, you got something like that. That's premium. Running back, not a premium. Guard, not a premium. Now, if you've got the best one in the game, that's good. But it's got to be the best in the game. Like, it's not, we got, like, if you're the Dallas Cowboys, you're paying Ezekiel Elliott $16 million. You're paying Tony Pollard on a rookie contract. Tony Pollard's better value than Ezekiel Elliott is.
Right.
But there's nobody on the Titans who's better value than Derrick Henry because Derrick Henry's the best in the game. But then you also think about this, too. The Colts might have the best left guard in the game, and they might have the best running back in the game. Who'd they play in the playoffs this year? Oh, they didn't. You know what I mean? Like, yes. You got to, like, that's why premium positions matter. That's why I'm telling you, the money the Titans spent on the defensive line, the value they've spent, whether it is they used a second and a third rounder for Landry, a first rounder and almost waited half a year on Simmons, a 20-something million on Autry, the massive amount of money they gave Bud Dupree, and I'm fine with it. Because you got to pay now, and you get what you pay for in life, and so they're getting after the quarterback, and all of a sudden you get 9 sacks in a playoff game, and if your boneheaded quarterback only threw 2 interceptions instead of 3 interceptions, you might have held up the Lombardi trophy because that's the premium. And guard is not a premium. And so that's how, that's how I feel on it. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. We'll get back to your phones again. And I'm not a position guy, right? Like, oh, Jared, we need a wide receiver. Who? But we'll get back to your phone. 615-737-1025. Stillman & Company. It's ESPN 1025 The Game.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman & Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Our gorgeous afternoon will continue as we head into the early evening hours. Temperatures overnight turn chilly in the low 40s with mainly clear skies, a little warmer for Wednesday. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
No matter the weather, it's a perfect day to consider getting a COVID-19 booster, as recommended by the CDC. Brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Out on the trail today, I noticed the signs of spring. A purple lilac, a monarch butterfly, crisp, cool air, and fresh, bright sunshine. And all this beauty puts me in the mood to head over to my favorite adult beverage depot, Red Spirits and Wine, where I can load up the wagon with the best wines, whiskey, and brews to wet my whistle. At Red, you'll always find the best selection and value, but their Cracker Jack crew is flat out second to none. Just square dealing folks and straight shooters with great recommendations, and they never come off like some of those big talking fancy pantsers that are just totally full of, well, let's just say fertilizer. Red Spirits and Wine is the only place I do my trading, and once you've seen Red, there just ain't no sense in looking elsewhere. It's like British pop singer Billy Ocean once said, no more love on the run. Red Spirits and Wine is the real deal. Open 7 days a week at Highway 70 South and Old Hickory Boulevard. And follow Red on Facebook and Instagram as well. We'll see you at Red.
Golfers, swing into Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the new Ping I-525 irons and Glide 4.0 wedges. The Ping I-525 irons have a forged steel face, allowing for dynamic distance and a greater feel. The next generation Glide 4.0 specialty wedges are engineered for high spin performance with a lower launch. Get a free custom fitting today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, and shop us online at worldwidegolfshops.com.
Hey, it's Mike from Newton Chevrolet Buick GMC. It's springtime, and I'm going on a limb here. I'm just going to say it. You either love Peeps, or you're wrong. I hope you've heard our commercials before. My hope is that you have learned that we are a quality company that prides itself on customer service, and that we like to laugh and joke a bit too. We're different than other dealerships. We don't have hidden fees. The price you see on the site is a price you pay in the dealership. We value you as a customer. We're aware that buying a car often has a stigma attached. Our goal is to overcome that bad stigma, not with flashy commercials or unrealistic giveaways, but with an honest, transparent car buying experience. We want you to come back, and we want you to tell your friends. We do that by giving you great customer service. We want to make your car buying experience fast, easy, and mostly online to save you time. That's why we have Newton FastPass. You can work your deal and numbers online and work the deal to fit your budget. Sounds easy, right? Hop to it and visit NewtonChevroletBuickGMC.com to start your deal. See website for details. Check the deets, peeps.
What makes mulch so lovable? The texture? The smell? Well, it's not just people that love mulch. Your plants do too. Retaining moisture and regulating soil temps, it's the whole package. And when you use Scott's Earthgrow or exclusive Vigoro wood mulches, you can even pick the color. What's not to love? Stop in for mulch and everything else you need this season. It feels like spring at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Darren McFarland.
And a mulligan that we all look for in golf. Lord knows our game could use it.
Willie Donick.
Outworked and outperformed a lot of other really good players.
Chase McCabe.
I want some sort of trade protection.
Darren, Donick, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
I know Trent Baalke well, and I know he didn't make up his mind in January or February or March that they were taking Aiden Hutchinson. That's just out there because the gurus want you to believe that they know what's going on. But in reality, they don't because they're not in the rooms.
They're not in the room.
And by and large, neither are the scouts. And the executives with the clubs, by and large, don't tell them. There's no point in doing that. Unless you're putting out bad information.
There you go. That was Bill Polian this morning on Sirius XM NFL Radio. And I do love that Bill Polian is like, these gurus, they don't know anything. And in fact, the scouts, we don't tell them anything. We don't know. Speaking of that, there is something I do want to get to in a second on Deebo Samuel, which I will. And you heard them talk about Aiden Hutchinson and everything else or whatever, and talk about the T out of Jacksonville. I have a conspiracy theory. And then we'll get to your phones. My conspiracy theory with the number one pick. Jacksonville knows who they're going to take. They've already told the owner who they're going to take. Jacksonville's not. This idea of they like Walker, but they like Hutchinson, which is true. There are people there that think that what I was told was, and I think the sourcing's pretty good, what I was told was that they view long-term Trayvon Walker will be a better player than Aiden Hutchinson. Short-term, where they need to win right now, they think Aiden Hutchinson is going to be better, and they're going to take Aiden Hutchinson, and I think they want the Lions to trade with them. I think they'd like to pick up a third pick, the Lions move down, and they can then let the Lions take Aiden Hutchinson, the local boy, and they can take Trayvon Walker and be like, well, we got an extra third-round pick out of it, but I think the Lions aren't budging because the Lions probably are in a similar spot. I think the reason that Jacksonville is throwing up so many smoke screens is this is one of the ones where the owners are like, Shad, we need you to do us a favor. You need us to do a favor? Yeah, I need you to make it look like you don't know what you're going to do because there's no quarterbacks in this draft to drive ratings. There's no interesting teams in this draft that are picking very high to drive ratings. So we want the intrigue to be at an all-time high. So what you do is you pick up the phone and you call everybody And you just say, yeah, I mean, we're torn here. I mean, I have a good idea what we're going to do, but, we still are internally discussing it. And then all of a sudden it's like, Jacksonville is internally discussing it. And Trent Baalke said at his press conference, they're picking between 4 guys. Well, I've worked with Floyd long enough, and I've listened to Bill Polian enough to know that's bullcrap. They're not picking between 4 guys on April 20th. They're picking between 4 guys on, March 30th. So
especially with the first overall pick.
So my conspiracy theory there is that I believe that Jacksonville knows exactly what they're going to do, but they're letting it linger out there because the NFL would like for there to be a little bit of drama on Thursday night. That's my gut. The other conspiracy theory I have, by the way, and this ties from Polian, and I did promise phones, but I do want to get this out there too. So Mike Tannenbaum, Ian, if you could. So Polian this morning was talking about Jim Irsay. Jim Irsay's a freaking kook, right? Like, he inherited the team from his dad. He, got all those pills and Vicodin and everything else.
He's kind of bonkers.
Thing, and he was just lucky enough to luck into Peyton Manning and then Andrew Luck. And, ever since then, it's been kind of
searching for the next Peyton
right.
Manning or Andrew Luck.
And the difference between Indianapolis and Jacksonville in terms of ownership is not as big as you think. Like, the success of Indy and the lack of success in Jacksonville, like, the difference in ownership is not that much. And Polian today said that Jim Irsay knew football better than all the 31 other owners combined. And he was telling a story how Irsay basically told them to draft Dallas Clark. And that, he's like, but he knew, he's a locker room guy. He's been a general, he knew, Mr. Irsay, he knew. And I was like, oh my God. And I texted that to someone, they texted me back and they go, what a kiss ass. So I'm watching ESPN this morning, and they're talking about Deebo Samuel. And you and I both know, you've worked at ESPN, and I've done this long enough. You know that what they do is they talk ahead of time before they go on there. And a lot of time the analysts are like, hey, let me, ask me this question. Cue me up on this. So the 49ers came out yesterday. They said they're not going to trade Deebo Samuel. Like, they're basically the same thing that I asked John Robinson about AJ, they said about Deebo, just with a little bit more heart from John Lynch than Robinson being like, I don't foresee it. And so they were talking about it on ESPN this morning. Mike Tannenbaum, Jets. Remember how Rich Cimini put out that the Jets would be willing to deal a 10th overall pick for AJ?
Uh-huh.
Well, and we said, where's he getting that from? The Jets. So Tannenbaum, the ex-Jet general manager, is on TV. Listen to the question Greenberg asks and listen to his answer.
Is there a receiver that will be available, let's say at 10, that you would identify if you were in San Francisco and say, that's the guy I can bring in here and I won't miss a beat?
Absolutely. There's 3 of them. Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, the Ohio State receivers, Jamison Williams, who's coming off of an ACL but has Tyreek Hill type speed. So, again, I agree with everything that's said. He's a great, great player. But if I'm the 49ers and I can get the 10th pick, that's going to average, as Hembo just reminded me, about $5 million a year. Deebo's going to be about 5 times that amount of money. Yeah. So not ideal to lose Deebo Samuel, but that's why if I'm John Lynch, there's a huge sense of urgency. I need to know by Thursday, can I solve this problem with Deebo Samuel? If I can't, I'm simultaneously talking to Joe Douglas, the GM of the Jets, trying to reach agreement in principle. So on parallel tracks, I'm having these conversations, Greeny, so I can make the best decision for our team.
I mean, it's almost like Tannenbaum was through the television saying, hey, John, the Jets want to trade the 10th overall pick for Deebo, just so you know. I want you to know. And there's 3 receivers out there that you can take that are just as good as Deebo. And Deebo would be 5 times more than these 3 receivers. So the Jets are willing to trade the 10th overall pick, just like the Rich Cimini article where he went on Darren, Donick, and Chase, and D. Mace asked him why AJ and DK. He's like, I don't know. It's just interesting fodder. It's like, dude, you freaking reported it. And that's what so the Jets are, I mean, Floyd loved the Titans, and he, treated the Titans as such.
Of course.
Irsay, Polian is licking Irsay's bum, and then here's Tannenbaum, the ex-Jets general manager, wanting everybody to know.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Wanting everyone to know that, hey, it might be better for San Francisco to trade Debo for the 10th pick. Hey, Tannenbaum, you know this, and I know you know this, and I know this. If the 49ers wanted the 10th pick and thought that these three receivers were as good as Debo Samuel at a fifth of the cost with probably 95% less complaining, guess what? The Jets would have Debo Samuel yesterday. But they don't.
But also, the 49ers have to come into play with that. I mean, this isn't just a Jets thing.
No, the 49ers.
I mean, we can send out feelers all day
long. The truth is, and we asked TD about this last Thursday, and TD said that he does not think any of these wide receivers in this draft are better than A.J. Brown. Clearly, that's how the Titans feel. Because if the Titans thought that Jamison Williams was going to be better, then they would offer A.J. Brown to go pick at 4, and they would draft Jamison Williams. But they're not going to do that because they think that AJ's better. And so clearly the 49ers think Debo is better for what they do than any of the guys that they could pick with that 10th pick.
And also if San Francisco is going to make a change at quarterback, which seems like it's going to happen sooner rather than later, don't you want a Debo over a rookie wide receiver?
Well, here's the bigger issue than that. That is, if the Jets are so desperate to trade it for AJ or for DK or for Debo, they're telling you that they think those guys are better than the guys that they could pick in the draft. So, I mean, Tannenbaum can get on TV and, this makes great sense. But, I mean, come on now. I promised phones and we didn't get to them. I'm sorry about that. We'll get back to them later. 615-737-1025. Yesterday, we played the clip from the GM. All decisions have to be made before the draft, so we decided what the needs were on offense. So today, we got what the needs are on defense. That's next. Preds fans, join us for Smashville Live tomorrow on 102.5 The Game. Smashville Live airs on Wednesday during the Preds season from 6 to 7, featuring Preds players, former players, and other special guests. You can watch the show via 102.5 The Game's Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Be sure to join us live for Smashville Live, brought to you by New Amsterdam Vodka, Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, and Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Weekday mornings from 5 to 9.
Did you see the Tennessee Titans? He has all the weapons to make it happen.
There's so much to pay attention to. Greeny from 9 to 11.
Ryan Tannehill is the most disrespected player.
Art and Han from 11 to 2.
You never stop punching. They've got to learn how to close the deal.
And the Paul Feinbaum Show afternoons from 2 to 6.
Are these legitimate contenders to the party?
Your exclusive home for ESPN Radio in the Music City.
ESPN
94.9 and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen. At the law office of Amanda J. Gentry, we are committed to defending your rights. We have a team committed to helping you navigate the court system, whether you've been accused of a crime or you're going through a messy divorce and custody. Call our team to help you navigate this system. We are here to protect your rights, to demand your rights, to enforce your rights. 615-604-6263. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
It's the return of Jack White, live in concert. The Supply Chain Issues Tour. This Saturday and Sunday at Ascend Amphitheater. Get tickets now at LiveNation.com. The brand new albums from Jack White, Fear of the Dawn, is available now. And Entering Heaven Alive drops July 22nd. Don't miss Jack White. Visit JackWhiteThe3rd.com for more information.
If you're shopping for a new home, the last thing you want is another surprise jump in mortgage rates. Hey, Willie Donick here, excited to tell you about Loan Pronto's all-new rate protection program. You get a rate quote that is locked in for 180 days, 6 whole months. Brian and Amy did it. They locked in an APR in the 3s with Loan Pronto. When they finally found a home a month later, rates had jumped into the 4s, but they were protected thanks to Loan Pronto, and they saved over $200 a month on their payment. With Loan Pronto's rate protection guarantee, you can make offers with confidence. And there's no fee for this, no upfront cost. And most home buyers who go with Loan Pronto save about $3,000 in closing costs. Call now for the all-new rate protection program so you can check rate increases off the list of things to worry about. 615-499-5780. or loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780. 499-5780. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval.
Parman Tractor and Equipment is your one-stop tractor and equipment solution, and Middle Tennessee's Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer. Rent or purchase a track loader, mini excavator, large excavators for your job site, or something in between. Parman is now hiring and seeking qualified candidates for construction equipment truck drivers, service technicians, and more. Apply at parmantractor.com or call 615-865-7800. Come be an employee owner with the Parman team, your Middle Tennessee Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer.
Erectile dysfunction ruins sex, but it's more than that. It harms otherwise good relationships. It destroys marriages. It can cause depression and anxiety, and it can be extremely hard on a man's self-esteem. This is Kim for the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and if you're suffering with ED, if it's affecting you, I want you to know that if you're like most men, we can treat it and get you back to the man you used to be. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we're ED experts. Our protocols have success rates as high as 90%. We've successfully treated thousands of men in the Music City, and we have a variety of treatment options and treatment combinations that could have you performing like you haven't in years. You could even last up to an hour and experience great sex again that is satisfying for both you and your partner. In treating your health, expertise matters, so make an appointment today. Your initial appointment is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra. Results vary.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting 97.5 Murfreesboro, 106.3 Williamson County,
ESPN
102.5 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios, Bridgestone Arena, inside of Patron Platinum Club, where the Predators take on the Calgary Flames. Win in regulation, and you are in. So hopefully they will do that tonight. But we have got to do what we yesterday, which, of course, the GM told us every decision has to be made before we get to Thursday.
Here's the number one do. Make all the decisions before draft day. Now, technically, that's going to be impossible, but you want to go through and decide, have all of your mock drafts drawn up, have your top 150 all aligned the way you want. So if there's a dispute as to who's a better player between John Jones and Bill Smith, you can look up there on your board and see how you've rated them, and you stick with that. But anything about possible trades, about possible cuts, about anything along those lines, you want those decisions made prior to draft day so that when you go in there, all you're going to worry about are the new things that are going to pop up, and there will be a bunch of those.
Okay, so yesterday we went over needs on offense. Short-term needs, right tackle, left guard, tight end depth, running back depth, and we didn't talk about this yesterday, but I'll just add it, punt returner, kick returner.
Yeah.
Long-term, all of those things, tight end, left tackle, quarterback, running back, and we left a question mark for wide receiver, and I just don't think wide receiver is a need. But if it was the top thing on the board and that player was so much better than all the other things, then I would take a wide receiver. But, again, now I'm not saying these are all needs for the first round. I mean, you've got all these picks. So, a fourth-round need can be addressed. Like Elijah Molden was a third-round pick last year. I think he was picked, number 100. So let's go to defense. Harold Landry, your outside linebackers. Harold Landry, you have signed for the next 5 years. You are committed to the next 3. And Bud Dupree, you have signed for 4 more years. You're committed for the next 1. So in what is a deep edge rusher draft, it probably wouldn't hurt to add another guy to rotate in with those guys, but also if that guy was supposed to be a good player, that guy could eventually take over for Dupree, who's got injury issues, has off-the-field issues, and is not getting any younger, and you're only committed to him for one more season. It should be noted the Titans have Rashard Weaver, who broke his leg last year. He also has off-the-field issues, but he's locked in for 3 more years. So it doesn't feel like pass rusher is a need, but when Bud was out last year, it was a need. So in a good pass rusher draft, I'm not going to rule it out. I say long-term, it'd be nice to add another guy. Danico Autry is signed for 2 more years. You're committed for 1 more year on the defensive line. Jeffrey Simmons, the Titans will exercise the 5th-year option. I think we all know $10 million for Simmons is a steal. So Autry and Simmons you have under contract for the next 2 years, and you're only committed to Autry for 1. Simmons you're committed to for the next 2. I think they're going to re-sign Simmons. I think they should re-sign Simmons. And so with all the other depth guys, and these are all bottom of the rosters, the Tier Tarts, the Laurel Murchisons, the what was the one last year that came in and played pretty well? Naquan Jones. Those guys, you can always get those guys, undrafted free agents, guys that are cut by other teams. You can always get depth on the defensive line. But it feels to me like defensive line and pass rusher are good, right?
Not immediate needs, but if someone's there, that's always a good position group to have depth at.
But if there was a DT that was there, and let's say the DT was, and you're picking, let's use the first round as an example. But this could be at any point. If the DT is like the 14th best player in the draft, and you're picking at 26, and then the second best player available is like 27, then you almost have to take the DT. Or you have to trade out of that spot for somebody who wants the DT.
But if it's the difference between like 14 and 15, for example, and one may be a little bit more of an immediate need.
I was going to use like a more realistic at that 26th spot. If it's like 24 and 22, then 24 at right tackle over DT. But, I mean, again, you don't need another Jeffrey Simmons. I think they're good there on the front 7. Inside linebacker, Zach Cunningham signed for 3 more years, committed to him for 1 more year. David Long Jr. is an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year, and Monty Rice is signed for 3 more years. I honestly, I don't really care about Monty Rice. I don't view Monty Rice as like the next, that Long's going to leave as a free agent, and then you stick Monty Rice in there, and you're going to be good. Monty Rice was hurt last year. And that there is an interesting question that comes up with this group, right? Because you're only committed really for 1 more season at real money to any of these 3 guys, and it's Zach Cunningham for this year. Nakobe Dean. There's a lot of people that think that this is, middle linebacker is not a premium position. A lot of people think Nakobe Dean out of Georgia is like a top 15 prospect. But because middle linebacker is no longer considered a premium position, and a lot of teams have hit it out of the park at middle linebacker on the second day of the draft. Like Fred Warner was a second-day draft choice. A lot of teams have hit it out of the park on the second day of the draft. There's a thought that Nakobe Dean could slide. Now, I'm going to say this about Nakobe Dean as somebody who does not evaluate draft prospects. He's freaking good. And so if Nakobe Dean is available at 26th, and I don't know where the Titans have him ranked on their board, but if Nakobe Dean is there, then that brings up an interesting question, which we're going to have to discuss about if that middle linebacker is there and he's that dude. And for the Georgia Bulldogs, I'm sorry about Monty Rice. Georgia's always had a good defense since Kirby Smart's been the coach. I had no idea who the hell Monty Rice was when they picked him last year. I know who Nakobe Dean is. Nakobe Dean's a bad boy.
I mean, that Georgia defense was bad.
And I mean, Monty Rice, I don't know anything about him. I don't know anything. Defensive back. So we'll leave that to the side about, middle linebacker. If it's there, do you do it? Pass rusher. If it's there, do you do it? That would be a first round question, which we'll get into in just a second. Corners. Now, at the corner position, I can't see the Titans taking anybody before the 3rd round. And even then, the 3rd round might be a stretch. Christian Fulton is locked in for 2 more seasons, then he becomes an unrestricted free agent. Caleb Farley is locked in for at least 3, but probably 4 because you have the option of the 5th year on Farley. So at the latest, Farley is here till 2026. So I'm fine with that. Chris Jackson, you've got for 2 more seasons. Elijah Molden, 3 more seasons. These are all rookie contracts. Now, safety is a little different. Kevin Byard is locked in for the next 3 seasons, and you are committed to him for the next 3 seasons. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, you could probably trade him after June 1st in 2024. Yes. But, I mean, you're paying real money to Byard this year, next year, and the year after that, and then there's 2 void years at the end of the deal. So, that's real. Byard is there for 3 more years. So you would not have to replace him. Amani Hooker's a free agent at the end of the year. Dane Cruikshank is left as a free agent. Not that I ever valued Dane Cruikshank as a guy that could play that Amani Hooker, Kenny Vaccaro role. It is not, in my opinion, a premium position safety. But you do wonder if the Titans would want to extend Hooker, because I think Hooker's pretty good. And so that is now a question that you have to ask is about Hooker. So they probably do need a safety, regardless of if they sign Amani Hooker or not. They probably do need a safety at some point in this draft. Is a depth guy, in case somebody gets hurt, or as one of those rotational guys, like how Cruikshank played a little bit, and on special teams. But if you're looking for a replacement for Amani Hooker, you may go to the 3rd or 4th round for that. If you're looking for just a rotational guy, special teams, that might be the 6th round. But I do think safety is absolutely a need. Corner, you can never have enough corners, but I think corner, I'd rather wait until later in the draft. If it's at the top of the board in the 6th round, go at a corner. If it's the top of the board in the 4th round, go at a corner. Not sure how I'd feel about another 3rd round corner when you've got a 1st round corner, a 2nd round corner, a 3rd round corner, and a 7th round corner. So I basically would say that on defense, offense, we looked at it, and this is how crazy the league changes, because last year offense was what the Titans were good at. Offense, short-term needs, right tackle, offensive guard, tight end depth, running back depth, kick returner, punt returner. Long-term needs, tight end, left tackle, quarterback, running back. For the Titans, they have, in my opinion, no short-term needs other than depth at safety. Long-term needs, I would say maybe a pass rusher. If Bud Dupree gets injured this season and you think you can't rely on him anymore and you want to save money by cutting him and you draft a pass rusher in this year's draft, which is an incredibly deep pass rusher draft, that could be a long-term need. Inside linebacker is a long-term need because Cunningham you're committed to for 1 more year. David Long leaves at the end of the year. And that opposite safety spot is a long-term need because Amani Hooker's a free agent at the end of the year. But that's it.
I would put, if I'm making this list, I would put pass rusher as a long-term need. I would feel comfortable in doing that just because, we've seen what the difference disruptive pass rush can make.
Yeah, you can always rotate your guys in and out.
Right,
so if you draft
right.
a guy,
Especially when you have a guy that's getting up there in age and also is coming off of an ACL tear.
So that leaves really, the question about should the defense, should Jim Schwartz and Shane Bowen even show up on Thursday night? So we'll get to that. 615-737-1025, your reaction to the needs on defense. And, do you think that, would you be mad if they went defense at 26? Should you be mad if they go defense at 26? We'll break that down next. 615-737-1025 and your phones as promised here on the program live from Bridgestone Arena. Again, just figuring out what you need, who you need it from, when you need it. That's kind of how the draft works. 615-737-1025. Join ESPN 1025 The Game for the Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament, benefiting Folds of Honor on May 16th at Hermitage Golf Course. Put your team together and come play with athletes, musicians, and other local celebrities. Sign up at thegamenashville.com/golf.
This is Andrew Allegretta, voice of the Vandy Boys. Listen to the Commodore Hour every Monday at 6 p.m. during the baseball season. Kevin Ingram and I talk with Coach Corbin and special guests on ESPN 94.9 and streaming on the VU Commodores mobile app.
Victory Award-winning New Amsterdam Vodka knows all about it. But in life, it's not always so clear. So New Amsterdam Vodka believes that in life, you've got to find your own wins. You've got to overcome your fears, go all in, even when you've got nothing at all. Find your wins. And when you do, raise that glass of New Amsterdam Vodka in victory. You've earned it. New Amsterdam Spirits Company, Modesto, California.
Middle Tennessee, you can count on an award-winning service team for all your home maintenance and improvement needs. Lee Company, we're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and trusted by thousands of homeowners in our community. Our team is ready to assist with all your home maintenance projects, heating and air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, appliance service, and more. Experience the convenience of calling one phone number for all your home maintenance needs. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
As a mom, you have to plan for everything. But I never planned on my health plan at work costing so much to cover my family. Fortunately, with more than 70 years of experience helping Tennesseans, Farm Bureau health plans help me get family-friendly coverage for a lot less. So I can focus on raising my kids, not my premiums.
Ouch, Mom!
Find out more at fbhp.com. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Plan on us.
Houston Clinic Orthopedics wants to thank their patients for voting them the #1 orthopedic practice in the Nashville Scene Poll for 3 years in a row. Their physicians specialize in spine, joint replacement, knee, hip, upper extremity, and other orthopedic conditions. At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, they adhere to all CDC guidelines for the patient's and staff safety. To experience world-class orthopedic care and see a list of all physicians, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
Don't forget to grab your mom something special this year. Shop at Social Furniture for their Mother's Day sale, where everything is in stock. They have sofas, bedroom sets, and top-name brand new mattresses like Purple, Serta, Sealy, and Simmons on sale now. Running out of time? Well, at Social Furniture, there's no waiting and same-day delivery. Use Social Furniture's financing plan and pay no interest for 1 full year. Shop at Social Furniture today on Charlotte Avenue in West Nashville. Shop local. Shop social. Social Furniture is a proud supporter of your Nashville Predators.
Okay, let's start unloading the sod over here.
The grass is always greener when Haruka's Lawn Care does the mowing.
And then we want to get the flower bed started before lunch.
They need a new landscaping designer to keep their budding business growing.
Oh, can we double check the incline here? This one needs to drain this way.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
And obviously you're looking at some of those offensive guys in the draft right now. Defensively, anything you'd be looking for to add in maybe some of those later rounds? And then can you give an update on Caleb Farley and just how he's coming along?
Yeah, he's to answer your first question. I mean, guys that can impact defenses, guys that can stop offenses from scoring points, whether that's up front on the line of scrimmage, whether that's covering guys, guys that make tackles. I mean, you know, we've been able to find defensive help really at all levels of the draft. You know, whether it was Hooker on a Saturday pick, David Long on a Saturday pick, Jeffrey Simmons in the first round. I mean, we've been able to find guys that can come in here and play stylistically the way that Mike and his staff want to. And Caleb's working hard. You know, it's he's gained some size. He's continuing to learn and work and how to be a pro and make that transition to try to help our football team. He knows how important it is to us that he puts in the time, and he's dedicated, and you know, he's certainly on the right track, it looks like.
There you go. That was John Robinson. And again, you know, you're looking at defense. Yeah, we're looking at guys that can impact the game. We want the guys that can go get it. And so, again, here are the needs on defense. The short-term needs, safety depth. That's pretty much it. Safety depth. That's the short-term. Long-term needs, I think safety. Monty Hooker's a free agent at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. Pass rusher, because Bud Dupree you're only committed to for one more year. Danico Autry you're only committed to for one more year. Mm-hmm. And then inside linebacker, because Zach Cunningham you're only committed to for one more year. And David Long Jr. is a free agent at the end of the year. And I don't know if Monty Rice can play. which leads me to this question. What if the pick is defense on Thursday? With the 26th pick, the Tennessee Titans select, and it ends up being a defensive player. So I'm looking at Dane Brugler's big board, which he is our mock draft guru according to Caroline's weighted breakdown, which I thought was pretty good. And George Karlaftis is an edge rusher out of Purdue. Now, I don't know George Karlaftis from my, right rear end cheek. But let's say that they have him ranked as the 18th best player in the draft. All the players at positions of need for 26th are gone. Jahan Dodson's gone. Zion Johnson's gone. Treylon Burks is gone. Tyler Linderbaum is gone. Trevor Penning is gone. Kenyon Green is gone. Tight ends are all not at that level. And so you're stuck in a position to where you can get this pass rusher, or you can get, Andrew Booth, a corner out of Clemson, or Arnold Abidake out of Penn State, or Quay Walker out of Georgia, or Malik Willis, or something like that. And the Titans go defense because it's like, we're here at 26th. The 18th best player is a pass rusher. And then the next best player on our board after that is like the 27th best player. I think the fans would erupt.
I think the fans would be angry because it's like, look at all of these needs on offense. What was our problem last year?
Yep.
Offense, defense was the reason why we won so many games. So I think a lot of fans would be confused. I think a lot of fans would be angry looking at all of these, if you're going to call this a wide receiver draft, and fans want a wide receiver.
But also, we don't even think wide receiver is a need.
But also, does it really matter what the fans think?
No, it doesn't matter what the fans think. But I do think the fans will go bananas.
The fans will go bananas.
I think this is where you have to judge, what your team is right now. And if you think you can win the Super Bowl, you almost have to say, okay, that pass rusher, how much is he going to help this year? But then how much is he going to help next year? And I do think that, you have to be thinking long-term here. And so if they go pass rusher, if they think one of these guys is good, even though it's not an immediate need. So Karlaftis, this is just his ranking. And I put a list together of the guys the Titans aren't going to be able to draft. So no matter how, it wastes our time to talk about Trayvon Walker. They're not going to be able to draft him. If Trayvon Walker falls to the 26th pick, the Tennessee Titans will draft Trayvon Walker at 26. I think we all know that.
If he is arguably the best, if not the second best player in this draft.
If Kayvon Thibodeau drops to the Titans, unless they've got him shielded, and they might have him shielded because apparently there's a lot of baggage there. But if Kayvon Thibodeau is there at 26 and he's not shielded off the board, then the Titans are going to draft him. But he probably won't be there. And I heard Bill Polian compares physical attributes to Bruce Smith the other day. I just think to myself, Lewis Klein is a good instance of this, a safety out of Georgia. Now, I don't know much about Lewis Klein, but he's ranked as Dane Brugler's 33rd player on the board. What if the Titans see him as much better than that? And safety's a long-term need. And they have Lewis Klein ranked as the 15th best player on the board, and he's sitting there at 26th. You got to stay true to your board because there's so many things that you never know are going to happen that if you don't stay true to your board and you only draft for need, then you end up with a worse player, and a team that you will play will end up with the better player. And, I don't know what the Titans board looked like in 2020, but it wouldn't have made a lot of sense for them to take a running back if they believed that Derrick Henry was the future of the running back position. But Jonathan Taylor was sitting there with that pick. And again, what would Jonathan Taylor do on your bench? They did it to Derrick, but, that would be kind of crazy. But look who Jonathan Taylor ended up with. Michael Pittman Jr., look who he ended up with. You have to play those guys. So I could see it. I'm just not sure I could see it at inside linebacker because I don't see inside linebacker as a premium position. And if you're drafting a non-premium position in the first round, especially inside linebacker, it's got to be an impact player. What you've gotten out of David Long Jr. is not good enough for the first round. What you got out of Rashaan Evans was absolutely not good enough for the first round. So if you're drafting an inside linebacker in the first round, it has to be an absolute game changer. And I do believe that Nakobe Dean could be that. Though I was surprised that Dane Brugler has Nakobe Dean 29th on his big board. And if you're taking an inside linebacker with the 26th pick and he's the 29th best player in the draft, that's a terrible pick. So I don't expect him at all to go defense. I could see it with the 3rd round pick. I could see a safety.
Safety depth.
Well, that and like somebody that could come in right away and help on special teams. And, yes. I could see it there. I don't see inside linebacker, but Chris Sanders texted me and said they need corner depth. I really don't think they do. I mean, think about this.
That just depends on how much you value the cornerback position.
Well, but again, let's take Farley out of it.
Okay.
How many, starting caliber corners can you really expect to have on your roster?
Honestly, most teams have one.
Well, I mean, most teams don't have 6. And so,
elite corners.
Well, no. With elite corners, that's different. The Titans don't have a single elite corner. Maybe Farley's an elite corner, but how much do elite corners change the game?
I mean, I'll go back to the Stephon Gilmore conversation that we had, and I called him a top 10 corner in the league, and you said that was crazy, and I said, okay, let's name him. And I think we had a hard time naming 5.
Yeah, I mean, again, Fulton can start, Jackson can start, Molden can start, Farley, you expect him to be able to start, Screen can start. They got rid of Jackrabbit Jenkins because they thought Buster Screen was the same player for less money. So all those guys, although Pro Football Focus thinks that Buster Screen just hangs the moon.
Or Jackrabbit Jenkins.
Jackrabbit Jenkins. They think he just freaking hangs the moon. All those guys, can all get out there and play. All that matters is that you get the quarterback. And no one's moving me off of this. The idea that corner in today's game is if you asked me, you can have the best corner in the NFL, or you can have the best tight end in the NFL. I would take the best tight end.
I probably would too.
So I'm asking you, Jalen Ramsey or Travis Kelce?
Travis Kelce.
I'd rather have Travis Kelce.
I think that he just impacts the game more.
It's just not
than a Jalen Ramsey.
In today's game, where the rules have changed, in today's game, corner is just not a premium position. Let's get to some text here for a second before we get to Hal. 615-737-1025. What do we have?
One texter texts in and says the Titans need a person who can contribute right now due to Tannehill's trashy play against the Bengals. Our window to a championship with this team is closing quick, maybe another year or 2 at best. The Titans have given the Colts a chance to get better and contend the AFC South. We need a receiver that can hopefully come in and contribute right now.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think that anybody that actually makes these kind of decisions thinks like that. That we need a receiver right now, no matter what. And, I don't think anyone thinks that. Also, if you think your quarterback sucks, getting him more receivers is not necessarily going to make him not suck.
It's kind of like putting Band-Aid on a bullet hole.
Right, you don't have a right tackle. You don't have a right tackle. You don't have a left guard. You have 2 receivers, 2 high-priced receivers. One is not high-priced yet, but he will be. One receiver does not think $20 million is enough. The other receiver makes $16 million. You have receiver. Bill Polian said you need to pay one guy because you're a running team. And if you think the quarterback sucks, then you want to stay a running team.
Would you think, in your opinion, is tight end a bigger need than wide receiver?
Yes, because they have one tight end who is signed for $6 million. And then after that, he's a free agent, and so there's nobody on the team. I mean, AJ is going to be here for the next 5 years if you sign him into a contract. This guy, he's gone after this year. So, yes, tight end is a bigger need. But, I mean, I'm not taking a tight end in the first round of this draft from what we've been told about the tight ends. Hal will join us next. Win and the Predators are in. That's right. Win in regulation, and they're in. And yet, they've been stinking it up. And there is no more time left to turn it around. We'll get Hal's thoughts on the team as the season concludes and what is probably the last big show-me game this season. We'll get to that next. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. I love those guys. Hiller is giving away free vacations for you and your family this month. And with every purchase of a new whole home generator or select new HVAC systems, Hiller is giving you a free week-long vacation. With every purchase of a new tankless water heater, Hiller is giving you a free weekend vacation. And they're giving you a Visa Rewards card to pay for your gas to get you there. Choose from over 400 Marriott, Wyndham, Hilton, or Hyatt hotel properties and take advantage of this unbelievable deal while you can. These deals are only available for a limited time, so make sure you schedule today. Visit happyhiller.com for all of the details. As always, happy you will be, or the service is free. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud supporters of the Predators, the Vols, and Vandy. They take great care of my home. They can do the same for you. Hiller, call the Happy Face Truck today.
Tonight,
Roman Yossi delivers a howitzer from the left point.
the Predators wrap up their homestand with a matchup against the Calgary Flames. Pre-game at 6, face-off at 7 on Smashville's Best Sports Talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Hillside Medical Clinic. Is erectile dysfunction damaging your relationship? Are you sick of the pill and all the side effects? Well, welcome to the future. We have a major medical breakthrough. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most advanced form of wave therapy. Backed by 60 clinical studies, our technology uses pressure waves to repair and open up blood vessels. We've helped countless men get rid of their ED. But what is the true end result? Their relationship, even their lives, improve drastically. If you're ready to regain your love life, call us right now, and not only will the assessment and ultrasound be free, we'll also give you a gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. It almost never fails. This is worth $550, and it's free to callers right now. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and experience what I call the happiness ripple effect. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now, 615-576-5000.
Realizing Geico's great service and licensed agents are available at your fingertips is like realizing the plastic piece that comes with your pizza isn't a tiny doll table. It's to keep the box from touching the pizza.
Hey, the pizza's stuck to the box. Where's that little plastic thing?
Dolly needed it for her tea party.
It's something that's been right there in front of you all along, like the dedicated Geico claims team available to you in the event of an accident to get you back on the road quickly, or how your smartphone charges faster when you put it on airplane mode.
Wow, what if I put it on rocket mode?
It's something you can't believe you never realized before, like how Geico's industry-leading app lets you pay your bill, file a claim, manage your policy, or summon help when you need it. Or how those holes in your shower caddy are there so you can store your shampoo bottles upside down.
Showers happen fast when you're not waiting on shampoo.
Great service. It's just one of the many reasons to switch to Geico. They're all right there in front of you.
This is Sarah's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
Driving cross-country with 2 young children is ambitious, to say the least. Then our check engine light came on. We pulled into O'Reilly Auto Parts and they tested it. Turned out it was a faulty sensor. They referred us to a great mechanic just down the street and we were back on the road in no time.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. ESPN's Turon Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
On the field chemistry, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a process.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
When you draft players, it's not just for one season, it's for a career.
Nashville's Best Sports Talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Jordan Rogers, and you're listening to Nashville's Best Sports Talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Pro Golf is coming to Nashville this May with the Simmons Bank Open. Text the keyword golf now to 615-737-1025 for a chance to win a weekend pass for 4 to enjoy the event in style, including food and drink, plus a Predators gift pack, including polo shirt, golf balls, and umbrella. Text golf now to 615-737-1025. And enter to win. It is the final home game of the season for the Predators. And if they win in regulation, if they win, they're in. And so I know that, the Predators have not been playing great. And I know that, looking forward to a Calgary team or to a really, really freaking good Colorado team is not something that I think any of us would be very happy about or be optimistic about, but that is the situation they find themselves in. Hal Gill joins us now on the program, brought to you by Dunkin', featuring their newest next-gen location at 500 Cool Springs Boulevard. Hal, I want to start with this. The Predators this weekend were not encouraging, and in fact, it's very discouraging. They do look like they're playing hard, but the goalie looks like he's burnt out. A lot of the players look like they're giving it their all. Their all just might not be good enough. It's very concerning what we saw Saturday and Sunday, and yet this kind of provides an opportunity to turn all that around. How do you process this as a player for this team?
Well, as a player, I'm looking at it as what's next. You can look back and say, yeah, we had some bad games. We had a couple stinkers. We had a couple games. I thought that they played pretty well, that they put things together and played good hockey and maybe didn't get rewarded for it. I had other times where they just couldn't give it. They just, it's a long season and you're not going to have it every night. But if I'm in that locker room, I'm looking at tonight, and this is it. You win and you're in. That's a pretty good feeling to have. That's an exciting feeling to have. So, you get some energy. It was a huge point the other night. You look at it, yeah, you want the win. The way it ended was disheartening because you feel like, we needed another point. But it still was a big point, and, you carry that anger into this one, and hey, if you can't get fired up about this game, there's something wrong with you. You're playing against a team, well, first of all, to get in, you get the 2 points you're in, but you're playing against a team that you potentially play against in the first round. So a lot to be said for this game tonight and how they come out and how they perform.
And I would say this, too. Like last week, they won in overtime in a shootout. And I was talking, Ryan Johansson said that, we can clearly play with this team after what happened. I'm like, yeah, but back end of a back-to-back, they played their backup goalie. There's going to be no shootouts in the playoffs. If the Predators can control tonight's game, I think that will give them a lot of confidence. But, Hal, I'm concerned about the 1-4-2 record over the last 7 games against playoff opponents.
Well, it's of course you're going to be concerned about it, but you're still looking at the past, and I'm looking at what's happening right now. So
sure, but that's why tonight's game, Hal, I guess the point I was making was this team can get some confidence from tonight's game. If they don't win tonight's game, then I think we really have to look at that record against playoff opponents and be very nervous.
Yeah, but you need to get 2 points. You need to get a win to get into the playoffs. And you look at everything, and of course you can look back and look at everything that's happened, but it's about getting to the dance, and anything can happen when you get there. So I just think you don't have, as a player, the mindset, you can't look back and say you're worried about, I can only give you the players' viewpoint. I can't give you what you're trying to break down. I'm looking at why they've lost games, and it's been sporadic. There's been different things. There was a scoring drought for a while. Hopefully they've come out of that. There were some times where they had a flat second period against the St. Louis Blues. Is that discouraging? Absolutely. But I'm looking at the body of work in each game as it goes, and as a player, you're looking at, okay, what do we need to learn from that, and what do we need to do tonight? And so I think you have to look forward, Jared. I know you want to keep looking back, and at the end of the season, you can break down all that and break down your personnel. But right now, as a player, you're looking at what are we doing right now?
I think the thing for me, Hal Gill's our guest, presented by Dunkin' Donuts, featuring their new next-gen location at 500 Cool Springs Boulevard. Hal, I think what it is for me is that if they win tonight's game, and I mean like control tonight's game and win tonight's game, 4-1 with an empty netter in there, so you had a 3-1 lead and you controlled the game and you played solid defense, you got good goaltending, then you can sell that. Like I can look at that and say, okay, maybe this Calgary team's not that good. Maybe the week off the Predators will probably get by, the way the playoffs work will be good for them to rest and for Saros to rest, and then maybe they can beat this team. But
wait, when are we getting a week off?
Well, I mean, how it is. They end the season on Saturday, and then they don't play until like Friday. It's very frustrating.
You're missing the mark. We're at the end of April. They're going to start this as soon as this turns around.
But the thing I think that bothers me more so than anything else is that if they get smacked tonight, this is just my opinion. I feel like the idea of in the NHL playoffs, anything can happen is something that the fans in this town are getting tired of. Like, we all saw the cup run in 2017, but I think, 19, it was we got to turn it on going into playoffs. The bubble series last year, It's like, I think the fans are getting tired of, well, just get in, anything can happen. It's like,
what fans have you talked to, Jared? What fans?
Hell, I host the Drive Time afternoon show on the flagship station.
I understand, but I'm talking
to
different fans. I'm talking to different fans. Like you're just selling like 2017. People still talk about that. They're going to talk about it for a long time. That was the best time in some of these fans' lives. Like that was so exciting, and it came out of nowhere. This team that got in 16th spot and made it to the Cup final. Like that was, they're still talking about it. And then if you've even remotely watched this team, this is a different build. They are tough. Built for playoff hockey. So to say that, it's getting old, that anything can happen, if anything can happen, it's going to be to this team because they're built for this. I think they're a team that's a tough physical team that can ruin anyone's day in the playoffs. So that's what I'm getting from the fans, and that's what I get from me. So I need to talk to some of the fans you're talking to.
I just don't, you bring up the tough physical thing. They get in fights, but this is one of my biggest things. Talking about watching the team, it feels like every game almost starts the same way. They drop the puck. Hal Gill, what are your 4 keys to a victory? You tell me what your 4 keys are. And then it's like, they go up and down a little bit, and then all of a sudden, Nashville, minor penalty, 2 minutes tripping. And it's like, all right, here they go on the penalty kill. Goal the other team. And it's like, you do that in the playoffs, you get the Colorado Avalanche out there. It's going to be 1-0. And that's why, again, I look at tonight's game as kind of like the last.
Well, that's not toughness.
Shot.
That's just that's been a streak of bad penalties. They have to take those out. That there's no questioning that. But I'm just saying that if this team puts it together for the playoffs and gets that burst of energy that everyone does, Smashville gets loud and you go out there and you want to make a stink on your first shift. This is a team that you're looking to do that. And I've been through the playoffs. That's intimidating. That's hard to play against. And in a 7-game series, that's not something you want to deal with. And I can tell you right now, there's a bunch of teams out there that are saying they don't want to play against this team because they got some scoring, they got some physicality, they got tough D on the back end, they got Roman Josi and UC Saros. So, I think this is a team that could put something up in the playoffs.
So I am a little worried about UC Saros. Hal Gill is with us on the program. Saros at the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, the late middle of the year, Saros might have been the best goaltender in the entire league. As of late, he has really struggled. And I think it's because of the amount of games that he has played. I never really thought about resting the goalie as much as, it had been made. They really rode him. Unlike last year, they didn't have a Pekka Rinne to turn to. What's up with Saros?
Yeah, well, first of all, I thought Riddick came in and played well.
I think Riddick's fine.
Well enough to, he's done his job.
Yeah.
It hasn't been, it's not going to be Pekka Rinne, but I think he's done a good job. I think it's a lot to ask of a goalie to go out there and put up wins every night. He's played a lot of hockey, so I think that you get a lot more importance to get this win tonight, and then you can go into the back-to-back with a better strategy as far as goaltending goes. So that puts the importance on this win tonight. But I think Juice is out of this world. I think he's been fantastic all season. He gave up some goals, but I think that there's a lot of just lapses. If you look at, the St. Louis game, it's like, do you really fault him on those? Those are point-blank scoring chances that are, coming off the rush and almost 1-on-0s, 2-on-0s. So it's tough to put that on him. I just look at what has he given up. I don't think he's given up all that much. That hasn't been, lights-out plays. So I still believe if you can get him a little rest, it would be huge. That's why this win tonight would be huge to get him there. And then I think he can get dialed in, and in the playoffs, it's a game, day off. You're missing those back-to-backs, and it's a little more routine.
Yep. Hal Gill with us, presented by Dunkin'. Hal, tell us about Dunkin'.
Yeah, well, I'm a Dunkin' guy coming from Boston, so I'm pretty jazzed up that everything around here is turning into dunks. You mentioned 500 Cool Springs Boulevard. There's 1645 Main Street in West Lebanon. West Main Street in Lebanon. There's, of course, over by us. I know you're haunting that place at Harding Pike. But yeah, this is you talked about it. You're a big fan of the breakfast sandwiches. You can get chicken biscuits. They have snacks in the middle of the day. Of course, you can get your donuts and your croissants and your munchkins. Lots of options. Of course, the best coffee in town. So go treat yourself this spring and go get your dunks.
Thank you, Hal. Appreciate it, as always.
Thank you. Hi, Caroline. Take care.
Hey, Hal. How you doing?
So
I'm fantastic.
I want to talk
Excited
about
for
some
a
of the
big
things Hal
game.
just said, and we'll
I'm
do
not
that coming
worried.
up next. Because they got some I'm worried. I'm always worried. I got some takes on that I want to get to coming up next, and that's what we'll do. By the way, the Sounds. Get excited for the Sounds tonight on ESPN 94.9 as the Sounds open up a 6-game road trip against the St. Paul Saints, the AAA affiliate of the Minnesota Twins. That's right. Pregame show with Jeff Him starts at 6:20. First pitch at 6:37. Sounds baseball on ESPN 94.9 presented by 312 Pizza Company, Farm Bureau Health Plans, and Spirited Hive.
Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN.
Welcome into the DDC.
Stillman Company is delivered.
There's a new way to hear 102.5 The Game. Nashville's best sports talk on 106.3 FM. From downtown Nashville to Spring Hill on I-65 and to Murfreesboro on I-24. You now have two choices to hear our great sports programming.
Get the extra point, no problem.
And the Nashville Predators.
Scores!
Check out 106.3 now and save it as a preset.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Our gorgeous afternoon will continue as we head into the early evening hours. Temperatures overnight turn chilly in the low 40s with mainly clear skies, a little warmer for Wednesday. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Hey, it's Jared for TriStar Moving. If you're looking to move, you need to give my friends at TriStar Moving a call. At TriStar Moving, you'll get 5-star service throughout the entire process. Everything will be taken care of, from covering your floors, banisters, railings, front door thresholds, furniture, TVs, and more. They took great care of my move and made it as stress-free as possible. If you're looking to move, give TriStar Moving a call, 615-640-1219, or visit them at nashvillemoving.org/radio and get 5% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
Zines First is the official sign company for 102.5 The Game. Go to sfnash.com.
It's the official Bud Light Preds watch party as your Nashville Predators take on the Colorado Avalanche this Thursday night. Puck drops at 8, but the party starts at 7:30 with all kinds of specials. See you at headquarters, Beercade, downtown Nashville on 2nd Avenue. Go Preds!
It's the return of Jack White, live in concert. The Supply Chain Issues Tour. This Saturday and Sunday at Ascend Amphitheater. Get tickets now at livenation.com. The brand new albums from Jack White, Fear of the Dawn, is available now. And Entering Heaven Alive drops July 22nd. Don't miss Jack White. Visit jackwhitethird.com for more information.
Cutting the price of your wireless bill feels good, really good. Actually, it feels great. You should try it out. So cut your bill by switching to Straight Talk Wireless, now offering our $45 Silver Unlimited plan with 5 gigabytes of hotspot and nationwide 5G on America's largest, most dependable networks. The $45 Silver Unlimited plan from Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
A month equals 30 days. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
How do you make the most of your land? Shaw does it behind the wheel of a John Deere 1025R compact tractor. And he can do just about anything because
I make the earth take the shape that I want it to take.
But the Hubbards use their 1025R because
we really are trying to create this homestead.
There are millions of ways to make the most of your land. How will you make the most of yours? Nothing runs like a Deere. Get a 1-Series tractor for just $109 per month at your John Deere dealer today. For additional cost information, please call toll-free 855-633-2315.
Listen to Stillman and Company with me, Caroline Fenton, all season long on ESPN 102.5 The Game for your chance to win Nashville Sounds tickets courtesy of 312 Pizza Company in Germantown.
Darren McFarland.
He's cool. He's got a personality, and they make fun of him.
Willie Donick.
Would this be a fun guy to come to work and hang around with all day?
Chase McCabe.
They're just like, hey, we need you to play yourself.
Darren, Donick, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You're listening to Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
Hal Gill was just on the program. We're live at Bridgestone Arena. Win in regulation, and the Preds are in tonight against Calgary. And Hal right there was a good soldier talking about the fact that if the Predators, that people don't want to play the Predators and anything can happen in the playoffs and all they got to do is win tonight and they get in and then they're ready to rock and roll. All I got to say to that is this. That's why tonight's game is so big. Like, if they lose tonight, let's say that tonight's game goes like Saturday's game, which they beat Calgary last week, but they were on the back end of a back-to-back with a backup goalie, and Calgary can mentally look at themselves and be like, dude, like, we played at Chicago the night before, we played our backup goalie, we lost on
the
a
road.
shootout, a 1-0 shootout. You know, Nashville missed their first 2 shots, made the third, Calgary missed all 3. Now, you know, let's get focused for the playoffs. Let's get it right. And if they come out here and do what Tampa did, for instance, or Edmonton did to the Predators, now, they're not as good offensively as those teams. But if they do that, it's going to be a hard sell, probably internally and externally, that the Predators, who at that point would be 1-5-2 in 8 games against playoff teams the last month leading into the playoffs, with a goalie who's got a save percentage since April 12th of 875. That would be a hard sell for me to get behind. But if they go out tonight and they win the game and they play with a certain mentality and a certain
There we go.
identity.
Oh, 2 buzzwords, 1 sentence.
If they can control tonight's game and win, you know, where it's like 3-1 for most of the way, or, you know, they win 4-1 on an empty netter or whatever, against a team that is 9-1-1 in their last 11 games, a team that is scoring 4.3 goals per game, they're giving up 2.4 goals per game in their last 11 games. If they can do that against the Calgary Flames, then we can talk about, did tonight prove that the Predators could compete with Calgary in the playoffs? And it would give them confidence that they can compete with Calgary, and it would probably put a little doubt in Calgary's mind of like, hey, I know we think we're hot, but, you know, we've just played in Nashville 2 straight games, and we've lost those 2, so God forbid we lose a game at home and then have to go back to Nashville. But I you know, I'm not anticipating that. I think the Predators, and as I was telling you during the break, when Hal comes on and, you know, tells us like, hey, anything can happen, it makes me feel like the bad guy. Because I'm the guy who's watching the goalie right now, and it looks like, you know, he should be in Milwaukee with the way he's played in the last month. And I know Saros is much better than that. Saros is, you know, this year, he's the MVP of the team. He's
It's just a result of fatigue.
He's
it's
the
a result of
only
being
reason.
overused.
He's the only reason they're even here right now.
Yes.
And so I get it, but like at some point you got to win. We don't want to almost win.
We want to win.
And so, and you got to have a little confidence. You know, you got to have a little confidence. This team's going to make the playoffs. If they don't win tonight and they don't win Thursday, they'll beat Arizona, and Vegas will lose enough, and this team's going to make the playoffs. But gosh, if they don't beat, and I don't think Colorado's going to play everybody Thursday night. So if you don't beat one, you know, a good team, the last good team, last chance you get, if you don't beat these guys fair and square tonight, it's going to be hard convincing me that you're going to be able to do it. It's going to be hard convincing the fans that you're going to be able to do it. And I think it's probably going to be hard for them to truly believe inside that they can do it.
You don't think that they can go into the playoffs with a different mentality?
No. I don't think you can just, you know, stop what you're doing and all of a sudden do a 180. You know what I mean?
I mean, I hear you, yes.
Like
but
the
also,
17
it's the
team was
playoffs.
like the 17 team was freaking good the second half of the year. For the people that are like, I mean, you know, they came out of nowhere. They were good the second half of the year. Time now for Predators game day.
It's Hockey Night in Smashville.
Deflects back for Duchesne. His shot stopped, and the score!
What are the keys to victory tonight? What's being said in the locker room? Where do the Preds reside in the Central Division standings? Jared Stillman has the latest now. With Preds Game Day on Stillman and Company. Brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. This is Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The Calgary Flames are 49, 20, and 10. That's good for 108 points. The Predators 44, 29, and 6. That's good for 94 points. Again, the story today, win in regulation, and you are in. The end. And more importantly to me, because, again, I think they're going to make the playoffs either way. Give yourself some confidence. Give yourself some confidence. That's the key tonight. John Hines on the motivation of clinching.
Well, I think the level of team that Calgary, in itself is a really motivating factor. I mean, it's one of the top teams in the league. Really well coached. They're a team that plays hard. They play the right way. So for us, it's understanding the competitiveness of this time of year and the competitiveness and attention to detail that we're going to need tonight to give ourselves a chance to win.
There you go. Here's the scenarios. Win in regulation, in. Win in overtime, and Vegas does not beat Dallas in regulation, in. Beat Calgary in a shootout, and Vegas fails to defeat Dallas in regulation or overtime, win. Get 1 point versus Calgary, and Vegas loses to Dallas in any fashion, in. If Vegas loses to Dallas in regulation, in. So there's a lot that can go on here. I think the mental aspect of getting a victory over Calgary is the most important part of today's game, is to be confident, just get a little confidence in yourself and get a little confidence that you can beat these guys, because there's a pretty good chance you're going to have to play them in the playoffs. And, I don't know about you, but, I don't want to. I'm not going to get excited about the playoffs if I don't think they can win. The thing about the playoffs is the idea that you can win. No one wants to go to the playoffs and get smoked. So that's how I feel about this.
I mean, and that's where the mentality of anything can happen in the playoffs comes in. But also, whenever you can't have that mentality, whenever that even feels like a reach, that's always tough.
Yeah, just show us that we can feel that way.
Right.
Tonight against Calgary, that's it for us. Darren's ready to roll. Robbie's ready to roll. So they're going to have the pregame show. They will get you set for puck drop. That is next. Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 102.5. The Game.